Chapter 269. Senior Apprentice Sister Hanrui. I did not expect that you would make a special trip to my place. Please come in. Ningqing quickly ushered the two people into his immortal cave. Sun Hanrui's vision was very high, so when she saw the array formation arranged by Ningqing, she could not help but exclaim in admiration. Elder brother Ning, I really did not think that you would also be an array formation expert, to actually be able to arrange an array formation of this level. Senior Sister Hanrui is overpraising me. In fact, he had only arranged a level 3 array formation, although these level 3 array formations were of a very high grade, but after all, they were only level 3 array formations. With his current ability, he could even set up a level 6 array formation. Congratulations, Junior Apprentice Sister Liang. This time, you and Senior Apprentice Sister Hanrui will definitely have some gains. I don't know when Junior Apprentice Sister Liang and Senior Apprentice Sister Hanrui will set off. After Ningqing greeted Sun Hanrui, he once again congratulated Liang Kursen. Liang Kursen said, This time I came to find you for something. Senior Apprentice Sister Hanrui also specially came to find you for something. It's all thanks to Senior Sister Hanrui that I have a place to stay. If Senior Sister needs anything, just tell me. As long as it's within my power, I will do it. Ningqing knew that he had just arrived at the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect. As such, it was impossible for Sun Hanrui to have any important tasks for him to do. Therefore, he was confident in his words. Sun Hanrui gave a sweet smile. I really do have something that I need your help with. Ningqing was shocked. It couldn't be. Sun Hanrui was a soul essence cultivator, while he was just a profound congealing cultivator. How could he help the other party? Seeing Ningqing's slightly dazed appearance, Sun Hanrui gave a rare smile and spoke. You don't have to worry, even if you can't do it, I will not expel you. Senior Apprentice Sister Hanrui must be joking. Ningqing spoke out in an awkward manner. He had used these words to ridicule Wen Han not too long ago. One had to know that Sun Hanrui and Wen Han were both core disciples. Sun Hanrui stopped smiling and spoke in a stern voice. Elder brother Ning, Kursen and I talked a lot about you. I also know that you must be an extraordinary person. I'm younger than you, so you can just call me Junior Sister from now on. Ningqing did not speak. Did they talk a lot about himself? Even Liang Kursen didn't know much about him, right? Sun Hanrui did not care about Ningqing's expression, and continued. I know that you have a few mirage stones, but I want a mirage stone with at least 7 colors. I know that the price of mirage stones above 7 colors is extremely high, but I might not be able to afford this price. Moreover, I should not have opened my mouth. Ningqing saw Sun Hanrui's hesitant appearance, and knew that Liang Kursen must have told her part of the matter. Although Ningqing did not understand why Liang Kursen would reveal these things, but since the other party already knew that he had a mirage stone, then he must consider whether to give it to her or not, and not consider whether he had it or not. But why would Liang Kursen reveal his affairs to Sun Hanrui? It was reasonable to say that Liang Kursen's relationship with him should be stronger. Ningqing glanced at Liang Kursen, and found that Liang Kursen still had a smile on her face. Seeing until here, Ningqing did not wait for Sun Hanrui to finish her words, and without any hesitation took out an 8-colored mirage stone and handed it to Sun Hanrui. Junior Apprentice Sister Hanrui, what are you talking about? It is just a small mirage stone. Why would you ask for a price? This is an 8-colored mirage stone, just take it. At this moment, Ningqing understood that he should have taken out the mirage stone. With the relationship between him and Liang Kursen, it was impossible for Liang Kursen to harm him. She must have felt that he should have given it to her. And that was why she told this matter to Sun Hanrui. Besides, with Sun Hanrui's temperament, she absolutely would not take advantage of him for no reason. As such, she would definitely have something in return. In case he guessed wrong, then he would have to lose a mirage stone. It also made it clear to him that Liang Kursen was not someone he could make friends with. As such, this mirage stone could be considered as a favor to Sun Hanrui. 8-colored mirage stone. Sun Hanrui received the incomparably white mirage stone. As her voice trembled a little, she could not believe that she would be able to obtain an 8-colored mirage stone so easily. If it is not enough for Junior Apprentice Sister Hanrui, then feel free to say it. Although he knew that Sun Hanrui would not ask for another mirage stone, Ningqing still spoke out in a generous manner. To be honest, he had a lot of mirage stones. As such, an 8-colored mirage stone was not something that he would put in his eyes. Many thanks, elder brother Ning. Sun Hanrui carefully put away the mirage stone. As she spoke to Ningqing in a very polite manner, saying that she did not wait for Ningqing to answer. As she took the initiative to take out 2 jade cards and handed them to Ningqing and spoke. Elder brother Ning, your cultivation is slightly low. These are the cultivation jade cards for the small spiritual domain. I only have 2 of them. I will give them to you. This jade card can allow you to cultivate for a month, and these 2 jade cards have 2 months of cultivation time. When Ningqing heard this, he completely understood the meaning of Liang Kursan's words. Liang Kursan knew that he had come here for the small spiritual domain, and also knew that Sun Hanrui had the cultivation jade card for the small spiritual domain. As such, she took the initiative to tell Sun Hanrui that he had a mirage stone. Then let Sun Hanrui exchange it with him. Although in the eyes of many people, the value of the mirage stone was much higher, but in Ningqing's eyes, the cultivation jade card for the small spiritual domain was the most important. Many thanks, junior apprentice Sister Hanrui. Then I will not be polite. Ningqing unceremoniously put away the jade card. This was exactly the thing that he needed. If Sun Hanrui still had it, then he would not mind exchanging it for the mirage stones. Elder brother Ning, I know that these 2 jade cards are far inferior to the value of the mirage stones, so when I come back, I will definitely make up for the lack of it. Sun Hanrui did not like to take advantage of people, not to mention that she could not help Ningqing in any way. Ningqing quickly waved his hands and spoke. For me, this is more than enough. I just want to go to the small spiritual domain to cultivate. There's no need to make it up. I still have to thank junior sister Hanrui. Then Ningqing turned to Liang Kursan and spoke. Many thanks to junior apprentice Sister Kursan for knowing that I wanted this thing. Liang Kursan gave a chuckle, and at the same time took out a jade card and handed it to Ningqing and said, I have another one here, I will also give it to you. Although Ningqing liked the cultivation jade card of the small spiritual domain, but he was not a person without principles, as he quickly stopped her. Many thanks, junior apprentice Sister Kursan. But I cannot take your jade card. You and I are the same. Both of us came to the Rainbow Fall Sword sect for the small spiritual domain. I also need a jade card, so how can I take your jade card? Liang Kursan still put the jade card into Ningqing's hands. Big brother Ning, initially I had obtained a lot of benefits from you, but did not have any benefits to give to you. Because of this, I have always felt indebted to you in my heart. This time I obtained a jade card, but I do not have the time to cultivate. Tomorrow I will be leaving the Rainbow Fall Sword sect with senior apprentice Sister Hanrui, so it would only be a waste in my hands. You can come back to cultivate? You will always have to come back. Ningqing asked in a puzzled manner. Liang Kursan did not care about it and spoke. The rewards for going out this time are very heavy. When I come back, I will still be rewarded with the cultivation jade card of the small spiritual domain. Therefore, when I come back, I can still enter the small spiritual domain to cultivate. You do not have to worry about it. You have already offended 2 core disciples. As such, you have to speed up your cultivation. Hearing Liang Kursan speak in such a manner, Ningqing also did not remain polite. He put away the jade card and stood up once again to thank her. Many thanks, junior apprentice Sister Kursan. In the future, if I can get my hands on this cultivation jade card, I will definitely return it to junior apprentice Sister Kursan in double. Then I will thank you in advance. Liang Kursan spoke with a smile, when she suddenly saw Grey Toot Toot running towards them from the outside. Hey, you are also raising a pet beast. It is a puppy that only knows how to eat, called Grey Toot Toot. Ningqing spoke without much care. Sun Hanrui carefully stared at Grey Toot Toot, and spoke after a good while. I feel that this pet beast of yours is somewhat unusual, but I can't see it. Ningqing couldn't help but think in his heart, how could it be ordinary? His own pet beast did not even have a rank, yet it had a storage ring, and even had a variety of spirit pills all day long. Elder brother Ning, many thanks, junior apprentice Sister Kursan, and I will be leaving. You live here by yourself, so be careful. Sun Hanrui and Ningqing exchanged a few words before standing up. Her last sentence was to remind Ningqing to pay attention to Wen Han's people. But when Han and Fu Xingnan were her friends, as such she could not say too much. Ningqing only stayed in his residence for 3 days, before he took the 3 jade cards to the Academy's small spiritual domain's entrance to cultivate. At this time, the more than 20 people who had gone to the Great Liang True Country for a mission had already left. Ningqing certainly would not continue to wait. The Rainbow Fall Sword sect was at least a good place. Ningqing also did not want to continue running around. Once his cultivation improved, then that Fu Shengnan would not be anything to him. You want to go to the small spiritual domain to cultivate? Take out your disciple identity card. An old man at the entrance to the small spiritual domain stared at Ningqing in doubt. Ningqing only had the cultivation of profound congealing realm. Under normal circumstances, a cultivator with the cultivation of profound congealing realm would not have any backing in the academy. As such, it would be very difficult for them to obtain a quota to cultivate in the small spiritual domain. Ningqing did not dare to offend the old man guarding the entrance to the small spiritual domain. As such, he quickly took out his identity card and handed it to the old man. As he bowed and cupped his fists and spoke, "This is my disciple identity card. I want to go in and cultivate for 3 months. You have only joined the Rainbow Fall Sword sect for 3 days, and yet you want to go to the small spiritual domain to cultivate for 3 months? The old man was speechless as he looked at Ningqing. This disciple certainly did not know that cultivating in the small spiritual domain required a jade card, and thought that as long as he joined the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, he would be able to enter the small spiritual domain to cultivate. He even thought that as long as he wanted to cultivate, he would be able to cultivate. Haha. Several cultivators at the entrance to the small spiritual domain laughed. It was obvious that they were thinking the same thing as the old man. Ningqing was surprised in his heart. Could it be that entering the small spiritual domain to cultivate also had a restriction on the length of time one had to join the academy? But Sun Hanrui did not say anything about it. Thinking of this, Ningqing quickly took out his 3 jade cards and handed them to the old man and spoke. "Sir Deacon, I have 3 cultivation jade cards here. Do you really have cultivation jade cards?" This old deacon thought that Ningqing did not understand the rules. As such, he made a joke out of himself. But he did not expect that Ningqing not only had jade cards, but even took out 3 of them at once. Even the several cultivators who were laughing a moment ago also stopped their laughter. A profound congealing cultivator actually took out 3 cultivation jade cards for the small spiritual domain. Just what kind of rhythm was this? A profound core 8th level cultivator who was staring at the jade cards in Ningqing's hands withdrew his fiery hot gaze, as he rolled his eyes and squeezed forward, as he cupped his fists towards Ningqing and spoke. "This junior apprentice brother looks very familiar. May I ask which peak you live on?" Chapter 270. Ningqing was only puzzled for a moment before he happily spoke up. "You are the old Wang who lives next door to Han Wen's immortal cave. Haha. I really did not expect to see you here. I just heard you say that I looked familiar, so I just remembered." The profound core cultivator, on hearing the words old Wang next door, felt very puzzled. Who was this old Wang next door to Han Wen? "Did you forget me? Last time at the Heavenly Stars auction house, Han Wen took you with him. The 3 of us were in a booth?" Ningqing spoke in a very enthusiastic manner. The profound core cultivator was even more puzzled. He had participated in auctions but had never been to a booth. This fellow must have mistaken him for someone else. Thinking of this, the profound core cultivator also laughed. "Of course I did not forget. I knew that it was you. Didn't I just come up to say hello?" "Haha, old Wang really is you. You must have recognized me as Han Wen's friend Duan Yu. Every time Han Wen goes to the auction, he would always ask me to borrow spirit stones. You have not seen him recently. He must have entered the small spiritual domain to cultivate. I obtained 5 cultivation jade cards for the small spiritual domain, and he borrowed 1 of them." Ningqing was just like a chatterbox, talking nonstop. Out of the 5 cultivation jade cards for the small spiritual domain, how could Han Wen casually borrow 1 of them? This fellow even lent out spirit stones to others every time. He was definitely a rich lord. The more the profound core cultivator thought about it, the more excited he became. He did not think that Ningqing was lying. If he wanted to lie, then wouldn't he need to take out 3 cultivation jade cards for the small spiritual domain? No wonder I have not seen Hanwen for a long time. It turns out that he entered the small spiritual domain to cultivate The profound core cultivator spoke, as he worded the words to ask Ningcheng to borrow a jade card. Originally, he wanted to stop Ningcheng from exchanging the cultivation jade cards for jade talismans, but since Ningcheng still had one on him, then he did not need to be too obvious. Old Wang, I also have to enter the small spiritual domain to cultivate. It will take me a few months before I can come out. Do you still lack spirit stones? Last time at the Heavenly Stars auction you asked me to borrow 100,000 spirit stones. Although this fellow Hanwen is a good friend, but he is a bit too stingy. He also asked me if you have returned the spirit stones to me. He does not know how many spirit stones he owes me. 100,000 spirit stones for me is really nothing. Ningcheng spoke in a long-winded manner, while waving his hands in an exaggerated manner. How much does Hanwen owe you? The profound core cultivator rubbed his hands together. He felt that Ningcheng was a good friend that he had to make friends with, and even took the initiative to ask others if they were lacking in spirit stones. According to what he said, he had only met him once. Among his friends, there was no one who did not take 100,000 spirit stones lightly. Ningcheng did not care about it and spoke up. It's just a few million spirit stones. I don't care about it. However, Hanwen was a good friend. Every time he asked me to borrow spirit stones, he would quickly return them. He also said that it wouldn't be difficult to borrow them again. Really? Is it necessary to be like this between friends? By the way, I also have a cultivation jade card for the small spiritual domain. Why don't you come in together with me? Take it. This is the jade talisman for you to cultivate for the next 3 months. After the jade talisman dissolves into ashes, you will automatically be sent out. The old man guarding the entrance of the small spiritual domain really could not stand it anymore, as he took the initiative to call out to Ningcheng. Ningcheng quickly stepped forward and picked up the jade talisman. Thank you, senior. You are too efficient. I should show my respect for you with some spirit stones. Ningcheng put his hand into his storage ring, when he suddenly patted his head and spoke. My memory, I actually put the storage ring with the spirit stones in it in the immortal cave. It looks like I have to go back and get it back. Young man, hurry up and go back to cultivate. I do not lack your spirit stones. The old man shook his head. How can that be? Spirit stones are simply nothing to me. Ningcheng spoke without hesitation, as he subconsciously looked at the profound core 8th level cultivator. The profound core 8th level cultivator casually took out a storage bag and threw it to Ningcheng before speaking. Elder brother who? This is the 100,000 spirit stones that I borrowed from you last time. You can take it. Originally, I wanted to look for Hanwen to take me to your place, but I have not seen Hanwen. I did not expect to meet you here. I think that what Hanwen said is right. It would not be difficult to borrow again. The rest of the cultivators on the side couldn't help but stare blankly. They did not think that their companion would have such a rich friend. That's right, I also agree with this sentence. Ningcheng put away the storage bag, and even forgot about the reward he had given to the deacon. That's right, Hanwen is cultivating in the small spiritual domain. I really want to go in and see him. I do not have any extra cultivation jade cards for the small spiritual domain. Do you have any? Can you lend one to me? This profound core cultivator, on seeing Ningcheng put away the storage bag, immediately spoke up. It's just a small matter. It's just a cultivation jade card. I'll give it to you. Ningcheng's words almost made this profound core cultivator shed tears of excitement. Only Ningcheng's hand was placed on top of the ring, when he suddenly frowned, as he patted the back of his hand and spoke. Look at my memory, my jade card was placed together with the spirit stones, but I forgot to bring it with me. It doesn't matter. Wait for 3 months, I'll lend it to you again. I'll go back to cultivate first. See you, old Wang Ah. As Ningcheng spoke, he did not wait for this profound core cultivator to continue speaking, as he directly stepped into the transfer gate, and the next moment disappeared. Wait. This profound core cultivator, on seeing Ningcheng leave, hastily rushed up to stop Ningcheng. Unfortunately, he did not have the transfer jade talisman, and was directly ejected from the transfer gate. Haha, Hanwen's neighbor old Wang will be leaving first. The several cultivators together with this profound core cultivator laughed. This profound core 8th level cultivator's face turned green and red, as a murderous intent immediately rose in his heart, unexpectedly daring to take advantage of him, regardless of whether what this person said was true or false. Once he came out, he would definitely not let him off. Although he could not fight here, but there was always a place where he could fight. Of course, he did not know that if he could fight here, then Ningcheng would have already smashed him to pieces. Why would he only take away 100,000 spirit stones? Ningcheng really did not put a profound core cultivator in his eyes. After he entered the transfer gate, he was immediately swept away by a powerful force. After he fell down, he appeared in the middle of a vast white mist. Is this the small spiritual domain? Is this mist the spiritual qi? Ningcheng muttered to himself, but then he knew that his thoughts were wrong. The spiritual qi in this place was very ordinary. It was even inferior to his immortal cave. Moreover, the mist in this place was also not spiritual qi. It only made it so that he could not extend his spiritual consciousness out. Ningcheng did not believe that the famous small spiritual domain turned out to be such a place. He immediately left the place, and was ready to look for a place rich in spiritual qi to cultivate. But after half a day, Ningcheng finally stopped, as he felt very disappointed in his heart. This place was not as good as its reputation. All the places in this place were lacking in spiritual qi. In addition to the mist that hindered the extension of one's spiritual consciousness, he really could not find a place rich in spiritual qi to cultivate in. It should not be like this. If the small spiritual domain was just unworthy of its name, then it absolutely would not have such a big reputation. If he had known about it earlier, then it would have been better to ask Sun Hanrui. It would have been better than running around like a headless fly. 3 months of cultivation time was extremely precious, yet he had simply wasted half a day of it. Ningcheng searched for nearly an hour, and finally sat down on a blue stone with a slightly more prominent spiritual qi. He was ready to cultivate in this place for a few days. If it really did not work, then he would continue towards the depths of the small spiritual domain. When Ningcheng sat down, and began to operate the cultivation method to cultivate, an incomparably terrifying spiritual qi instantly filled Ningcheng's meridians. Ningcheng's entire body trembled. He finally understood what was going on. The spiritual qi in the small spiritual domain simply did not overflow. Only when one cultivated would it take the initiative to pour in. Moreover, the more powerful the cultivation method, the more powerful the spiritual qi would be. This kind of spiritual qi was absolutely different from the spiritual qi from spirit stones. It would not turn into a spiritual qi mist, but rather directly penetrate into the body. Ningcheng was ecstatic in his heart. He also found another place that was different. In addition to the absorption method of the spiritual qi and the spirit stones, the characteristics of the spiritual qi here were also completely different from the spirit stones. The characteristics of the spiritual qi here were definitely a grade higher than the spiritual qi from spirit stones. It even contained a vague law within it. Ningcheng absorbed a little bit of it, and his core lake immediately began to change. Ningcheng suppressed the surprise in his heart, as he crazily absorbed the spiritual qi for cultivation. He was well aware that when he used spirit stones to cultivate, even if he used more spirit stones, it would still be very difficult to increase the liquid true essence in his core lake. But in this place, it was actually so simple. As long as he operated the cultivation method to cultivate, his meridians would be repeatedly scoured by the spiritual qi, and then transformed into true essence, while at the same time the liquid true essence in his core lake would also constantly increase. In this way, he would not even need a month to fill up his core lake. Small spiritual domain, it really was a good place. Ningcheng sighed in his heart, while at the same time, he was also desperately absorbing the spiritual qi to fill up his core lake. As Ningcheng absorbed more and more spiritual qi, the liquid true essence in his core lake became more and more full. At this time, Ningcheng became aware of another characteristic. That is, the spiritual qi here not only contained a vague law, but it also contained a kind of spiritual medicine aura that was hard to describe. This kind of spiritual medicine aura even gave Ningcheng a feeling. That is, when his core lake was filled to the brim, and his cultivation rushed to the great circle of profound congealing 9th level, he would not even need to use the profound life pill to advance to the profound core realm. If he reached the profound core realm, and continued to cultivate in this place, then even he himself was not sure where he would end up cultivating. It was no wonder that the Rainbow Fall Sword sect had so many soul essence cultivators. With such a small spiritual domain, coupled with the higher qualifications of the cultivators, they were able to bring in some pills. If he could not advance to the soul essence realm, then he would truly be a pig. As long as he could feel the progress of his own cultivation, Ningcheng came to realize that the cultivation jade cards of the small spiritual domain were incomparably precious. Ningcheng was even more grateful to the two people, Sun Hanrui and Liang Kersen, in his heart. If not for their help, where would he have gone to obtain 3 months' worth of cultivation jade cards? Soon Ningcheng fell into a state of complete selflessness, as the inexhaustible spiritual qi of the small spiritual domain was crazily absorbed by Ningcheng, transforming it into liquid true essence, continuously filling up Ningcheng's core lake. Chapter 271. Ningcheng unscrupulously absorbed the spiritual qi, transforming it into true essence, and filling up his core lake. Although the speed at which Ningcheng absorbed the spiritual qi and the amount of it was terrifying to the extreme, but for the Rainbow Fall Sword sect's small spiritual domain, this amount of spiritual qi was simply nothing. A month later, Ningcheng slowly sighed and opened his eyes. His eyes were filled with joy and satisfaction, a feeling that could not be experienced by cultivating with spirit stones. Although he was still at profound congealing 7th level, but his core lake had already been filled to the brim. Ningcheng was very clear in his heart. If he wanted to advance to the profound congealing 8th level, or even the profound congealing 9th level, then it would only take a breath of time. For him, there was no difference between the profound congealing 7th level and the profound congealing 9th level. The only difference was that after he advanced, his core lake would once again expand. Ningcheng stood up. The benefits of cultivating in this place made him not want to leave. But Ningcheng still felt that cultivating in the small spiritual domain was not as simple as he thought. He once again entered the depths of the small spiritual domain, and once again found a blue stone with a lighter color and sat down. Sure enough, Ningcheng felt that the effect of cultivation in this place was much better compared to the front. It seems that the deeper he went in, the more obvious the effect of cultivation would be. However, Ningcheng also knew that this kind of change was very small. It was because he was absorbing too much spiritual qi. If replaced by an ordinary cultivator, then perhaps they would not even be able to feel it. Ningcheng decided to cultivate in this place for the full 3 months before coming out. He arranged a simple defensive array formation around him, before continuing to cultivate. Gotcha. As Ningcheng continued to cultivate, he simply did not need to attack the profound congealing 8th level, as that layer of cultivation barrier automatically broke apart, allowing him to smoothly advance to the profound congealing 8th level, causing his core lake to once again solidify and expand. From the looks of it, his previous guess was right. For him, the result would be the same regardless of whether he forcefully advanced or not. There might be a gap in strength, but this gap was definitely limited. The profound congealing 8th level core lake was soon filled to the brim, allowing Ningcheng to advance to the profound congealing 9th level, without even half a moment of stagnation. After advancing to profound congealing 9th level, Ningcheng's core lake started to churn with true essence. The feeling of his formidable strength almost made Ningcheng think that he could kill a soul essence cultivator by himself. The core lake rumbled, and the enlarged and solidified core lake was once again filled to the brim. Ningcheng knew that whether or not he would be able to advance to the profound core realm would depend on this. If he was not able to advance to the profound core realm in this place, then the next time he wanted to advance to the profound core realm, it would be very difficult for him to find such a good place. As Ningcheng continued to absorb the spiritual qi, the liquid true essence in his core lake continued to strengthen. The true essence in his core lake and meridians started to tumble, giving Ningcheng a feeling of tearing and swelling pain. Some of the impurities in his body were squeezed out by the powerful true essence, causing Ningcheng's body to be washed away by this kind of true essence circulation. Ningcheng soon became aware that something was wrong, although he did not have a master, but he knew that in order to advance to the profound core realm, the core lake was in the process of tumbling, and would condense into a golden core suspended above the core lake. However, as his core lake continued to churn, it actually began to compress his true essence. As his true essence continued to decrease, it absorbed spiritual energy and transformed it into new true essence. As time passed by, Ningcheng felt even more strange. In this kind of situation, just how much spiritual qi would he need to absorb in order to form his golden core? These 3 months would pass in the blink of an eye. When he got out, what would he use to cultivate? Use spirit stones? That was a joke. Although he knew that there was something wrong with him, but Ningcheng did not dare to suddenly stop cultivating. At least until now, although his golden core had not formed, but his strength was still increasing. This was an unquestionable fact. As a few days passed by, the liquid true essence in Ningcheng's core lake was still constantly being compressed, and then compressed again. Then the absorbed spiritual qi was once again transformed into new true essence, without even the slightest change. In the end, Ningcheng simply did not care about it. He only cared about absorbing the spiritual qi for his cultivation. Why would he care about forming his golden core? As long as his strength continued to rise. The only pity was that 3 months of time was simply too short. He did not know how long he cultivated for, but on this day, the liquid true essence in Ningcheng's core lake suddenly stopped increasing. Ningcheng was still feeling puzzled when the liquid true essence in his core lake, which had been condensed to the extreme, suddenly converged, and soon formed into a crazily rotating vortex. Forming his golden core, Ningcheng was ecstatic in his heart. He knew that this was the prelude to the formation of his golden core. He crazily absorbed the spiritual qi, while simultaneously operating his cultivation method to form his golden core. After a full 3 days, the vortex in Ningcheng's core lake suddenly disappeared, and a dragon eye-sized golden core was suspended above the core lake. This golden core contained a terrifying amount of true essence, which made Ningcheng believe that at this moment he could casually defeat a late-stage profound core cultivator. At the same time, an indescribable Dao charm aura surrounded the golden core, allowing Ningcheng to have a new understanding of his cultivation. Even the spear technique that he had comprehended in the Thunder Domain City had become a lot clearer. Although he did not understand why after forming his golden core, the liquid true essence still remained in his core lake, but Ningcheng still tried to control his golden core and accelerate the consolidation of his cultivation. After the golden core was formed, it began to slowly circulate above the core lake. As Ningcheng continued to cultivate, the speed at which he absorbed the spiritual qi was once again a lot faster than before. In just a few days, Ningcheng was able to consolidate his golden core first-level cultivation. The vigorous true essence and formidable spiritual consciousness made Ningcheng unable to help but let out a long roar. This kind of strength was simply not something that could be described in words. Only by finding a soul essence cultivator to test it out, would he be able to find out the extent of his strength in the end. At this time, Ningcheng could not wait to immediately bring out the everlasting Blue Thunder City from his Zifu to give it a try. With his current strength, even if he was unable to bring out the Blue Thunder City, he could at least bring out that kind of virtual shadow without any problems. However, Ningcheng resisted the impulse in his heart. He had been cultivating in the small spiritual domain for a long time, but was not aware that he was being monitored. However, this kind of thing was best to be careful, in case someone saw him. It would not be a good thing if his cultivation speed increased. But once he brought out the everlasting Blue Thunder City, it would definitely not be a good thing. Ningcheng had a hunch that the everlasting Blue Thunder City was not a simple magical weapon. I do not know how much time I have left, Ningcheng muttered to himself, as he looked down at the jade talisman on his wrist, but found that the jade talisman had already lost its color, and had turned a little gray. In just the time it took for half an incense stick to burn, a catcha sound emerged, as the jade talisman in Ningcheng's hand completely disintegrated into flying ash, while at the same time a kind of force wrapped around Ningcheng and sent him away. At the entrance of the small spiritual domain, it was still the same old man. When the old man saw Ningcheng come out, he gave a smile with great interest, but then shook his head. It was obvious that he had seen Ningcheng cultivate in the small spiritual domain for 3 months, and was only at the profound core first level, causing him to feel somewhat disappointed. If any of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect's profound congealing 7th level cultivators were to cultivate in the small spiritual domain for 3 months, then they would definitely be able to reach more than the profound core 3rd level. Cultivating in the small spiritual domain for a month was equivalent to cultivating in the outside world for 10 years. This was not an exaggeration, but rather a fact. Ningqing cleaned himself up before he spoke to the old man with a smile. I'm leaving, I'll come here often in the future. Saying that, Ningqing did not wait for the old man to answer, and quickly left the entrance. Although the others were not very satisfied with his progress, but Ningqing himself was very satisfied with it. When he said that he would come here often in the future, it was not just a casual remark. Now that he knew the effects of cultivating in the small spiritual domain, he was ready to do everything in his power to find the cultivation jade card for the small spiritual domain. Therefore, after Ningqing came out, he did not even return to his residence, and directly rushed to the assignments hall. He knew that in order to obtain the jade card for entering the small spiritual domain, he would have to complete the assignments. Moreover, he would have to complete the assignments that the Academy attached great importance to. Only by completing the assignments that the Academy attached great importance to would one be able to obtain the cultivation jade card for the small spiritual domain. Ningqing had just left the small spiritual domain when a profound congealing disciple standing guard outside the small spiritual domain sent out a message. Good kid, you finally came out. A profound core 8th level cultivator, who was still in the Rainbow Fall makeshift market, looked at the communication pearl in his hands and spoke out a few words. The next moment he had already left the makeshift market. This profound core cultivator was the same profound core cultivator who Ningqing had cheated away 100,000 high-grade spirit stones 3 months ago. Because of this matter, he was not only ridiculed by a few of his fellow disciples, but it also caused him to be in a tight spot for his cultivation recently. Haha, elder brother, who it's been a long time. I heard that you came out of the small spiritual domain, and that your strength had greatly improved. Congratulations, ah. Ningqing was still looking at the Academy's assignments on the array formation display in the main hall, when a very enthusiastic voice called out from behind Ningqing. Ningqing turned around and looked at the profound core cultivator, and asked in a puzzled voice, "Who are you? Did you just call out to me?" This profound core cultivator's heart sank. He was getting a bad feeling, but even if the feeling was not good, now that he had caught this person, he was not afraid. The profound core cultivator suppressed the anger in his heart, and reluctantly spoke up. Junior apprentice brother Hu, I'm Han Wen's next door neighbor, old Wang Ah. It's only been 3 months, don't you remember? 3 months ago I gave you 100,000 spirit stones, and you said that you wanted to lend me a cultivation jade card for the small spiritual domain. You are none other than the next door neighbor old Wang Ah. Ningqing frowned, and thought for a while before speaking. What next door neighbor old Wang? I don't understand what you are talking about. I'm sorry, you might have mistaken me for someone else. Ningqing shook his head, and turned around to leave. At this point, this profound core cultivator was sure that he had been deceived, as he sneered, and took a step in front of Ningqing. Cheating this grandpa's spirit stones. Do you really want to leave? You can dream on. You want to rob me? Ningqing's entire body instantly overflowed with a murderous aura. In this short period of time, all the people in the assignment's main hall focused their gazes on Ningqing. They were all thinking, who would have such courage to dare to release such a murderous aura in the assignment's main hall? That profound core cultivator, on seeing Ningqing's overflowing murderous aura, couldn't help but scream in his heart. Not waiting for him to speak, he heard a cold and stern voice descend. What's going on? Unexpectedly daring to release such a murderous aura in the assignment's main hall, who would have such courage? As this voice fell, a middle-aged soul-sculpting realm deacon appeared in front of Ningqing, and that profound core 8th level cultivator. Sir Deacon, this profound core senior apprentice brother, relying on his higher cultivation than me, tried to stop me and rob me of my spirit stones. I was not willing to give it to him, so he decided to use force. As an inner sect disciple of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, even if his cultivation is higher than mine, I will not yield. Ningqing was the one who first complained. He certainly knew the importance of striking first. Chapter 272. Is that so? The soul-sculpting realm deacon's eyes flashed with a murderous intent, as he stared at this profound core 8th level cultivator in a stern manner. The profound core 8th level cultivator's complexion immediately turned pale, as he quickly bowed and spoke. It's not like that, Sir Deacon. This junior brother is called Hunyu. Previously, he cheated me of 100,000 spirit stones. I stopped him because I wanted my spirit stones back. You dare to cheat your senior brother's spirit stones? His courage is not small, ah. The soul-sculpting deacon felt that Ningcheng was not being honest, but rather he believed in the words of this profound core 8th level cultivator. Ningcheng stared at this profound core cultivator, and spoke in a calm and unhurried manner. You are a profound core 8th level cultivator. You are not a child. How could I cheat you out of your spirit stones? Why don't you tell us how I swindle spirit stones? Yeah, tell me about it. The surrounding cultivators also started to make a ruckus. For them, they also wanted to know how Ningcheng managed to swindle those spirit stones. The profound core 8th level cultivator quickly spoke up. This person said 3 months ago that I owed him 100,000 spirit stones. I was confused for a moment, and ended up returning it to him. Only now did I remember that he was deceiving me. Ningcheng simply did not bother to explain anything, and just spread out his hands, as he cupped his fists towards that soul-sculpting cultivator and spoke. I have nothing to say, Sir Deacon can make your own judgment. Ha ha ha. As Ningcheng spoke, a burst of laughter erupted from the surroundings. This reason was too ridiculous. The other party said that you owed him spirit stones and asked you to pay them back, so you paid them back? Treat everyone as fools? I'll have to find a better reason next time. That's right. At the very least, it's more reasonable to say that they owe you. The soul-sculpting cultivator coldly stared at this profound core 8th level cultivator, as he spoke in an icy tone. Go to the law enforcement hall to receive your punishment. The next time you offend me, I will drive you out of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. Yes, Sir Deacon. This profound core cultivator did not dare to continue to argue about the 100,000 spirit stones, as he quickly bowed and accepted his punishment. That soul-sculpting cultivator turned his head towards Ningcheng and spoke in a cold voice. You should also take care of yourself. Next time you might not be so lucky. Ningcheng's heart skipped a beat, as he quickly cupped his fists and said, Yes, many thanks, Sir Deacon. He knew that the deacon had noticed that something was amiss, and even suspected that he was behind it. It was just that a soul-sculpting cultivator was too lazy to investigate such a trivial matter. As such, he gave him a warning before leaving. After the profound core cultivator, and the deacon with the cultivation of soul-sculpting realm left, Ningcheng was still calmly looking at the academy's assignments on the assignment screen. He really didn't take such a small matter to heart. If that profound core cultivator was not greedy for his cultivation jade card, then he really would not have bothered to earn this trivial 100,000 spirit stones. Unfortunately, Ningcheng looked at it for a long time, and found that only 3 of the assignments had cultivation jade cards for the small spiritual domain as rewards. The first task involved a Rainbow Fall Sword sect disciple with the cultivation of Soul Essence Realm, who had fallen in the mirage-gazing island for no apparent reason. As such, someone needed to investigate it. Moreover, the cultivation of the investigating person must not be lower than Soul Essence 7th level. This was simply an elder-level quest. Moreover, it only gave him a month of cultivation time. As such, Ningcheng directly skipped over it. The second assignment was to find the traitor disciple of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, Lei Junfeng, who committed an evil deed within the academy, and even stole the academy's glaze scroll. If they could get the painting back for the sect, they would get a year of cultivation time in the small heaven domain, and large amounts of pills and spirit stones. Ningcheng was secretly amazed in his heart. Good heavens! What kind of evil deed did this Lei Junfeng commit? Unexpectedly, there was a reward for cultivating in the small spiritual domain for a year? Ningcheng's eyes immediately turned red. He could not wait to immediately run out and catch this Lei Junfeng. Senior Martial Brother, may I ask what mistake Lei Junfeng made in the 9th mission? Is there really such a generous reward? Ningcheng, because of his jealousy towards this task, immediately grabbed a profound core cultivator beside him and asked, Hey, you are Senior Apprentice Brother Ning. This cultivator unexpectedly knew Ningcheng, and even called out Ningcheng's surname. Ningcheng was slightly surprised for a moment, as he also remembered, and quickly spoke in a friendly manner. That's right, I did not recognize you a moment ago. You should be my junior apprentice brother who was selected to become an inner sect disciple. Ningcheng could see that the other party was just at the profound core first level. Moreover, he had also entered the academy together with him. He didn't stand on ceremony anymore. Haha, senior apprentice brother Ning's fame has spread far and wide. Daring to put a core disciple in a difficult position, senior apprentice brother Ning really has a good spirit. This cultivator spoke while giving a thumbs up. It was obvious that he admired Ningcheng's actions at that time. Ningcheng showed a faint smile, as he cupped his fists and spoke. That is a matter of the past. Can I ask this junior apprentice brother's surname? This cultivator was very happy to become friends with Ningcheng as he quickly replied. I am called Jin Liangan, my immortal cave is at the Clear Sword Peak. I live at the Washing Sword Peak. Junior apprentice brother Jin is always welcome to visit. Right, is junior apprentice brother Jin also here to pick up a mission? Ningcheng had been cultivating in the small spiritual domain for quite some time. As such, he was able to find an acquaintance, and was willing to talk to him. Jin Liangan sighed and spoke. That's right, although being an inner sect disciple of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect is much better than being a rogue cultivator, but you also need to look for some missions, otherwise, it would be too difficult to take a step forward. That's right, the last few times when the elders taught, senior apprentice brother Ning didn't seem to have attended. In fact, what those elders said was very good. I was also able to break through to the profound core realm in one fell swoop after listening to the elders' lectures. Ningcheng only then came to know that there was such a thing as a lecture, as he quickly asked. I did not know. Do the inner sect disciples also have special lectures by the elders? Jin Liangan stared at Ningcheng with wide eyes. No, you don't even know about this? Of course there is. If there were no elders to teach us, then wouldn't we be the same as rogue cultivators? Moreover, the academy can also lend us cultivation method jade strips, as well as using the contribution points from the assignments to exchange for pills, jade strips, and even cultivation time in the small spiritual domain. This is also possible? How come I did not see it? This time it was Ningcheng's turn to stare with wide eyes. He simply did not know about these rules. Jin Liangan patted his head and spoke. Senior apprentice brother Ning, you certainly did not look carefully at the jade strips given by the elders. The jade strips are clearly marked on the back. You see, in addition to some of the stated rewards for the assignments, there is also a contribution point. Ningcheng finally understood the meaning behind each of the assignments, as it turned out to be the contribution points. Ningcheng took out the 2 jade cards from his storage ring, only to find that one of the jade cards contained a detailed introduction, while the other jade card was blank, with the words contribution points written on it. Damn, Ningcheng rubbed his hair. The reason he came to the Rainbow Fall Sword sect was to cultivate in the small spiritual domain. After finding the immortal cave, he simply did not care about the rest of the jade cards. He thought that it was the academy's most basic cultivation method. Later, when Sun Hanrui and Liang Kursen came over, he obtained the jade card to cultivate in the small spiritual domain for 3 months. As such, he was not in the mood to look at the academy's low-leveled cultivation methods. But he did not think that these were not the academy's cultivation methods, but rather the contribution point jade cards. I want to go to the small spiritual domain to cultivate. How many contribution points would it cost to cultivate for a month? Ningcheng quickly asked. Jin Liangan shook his head and spoke. Who doesn't want to go to the small spiritual domain to cultivate? Wanting to exchange contribution points for cultivation time is something that is very difficult. Only if you take on a very difficult assignment would you be able to exchange for it. Many of the difficult assignments are directly rewarded with a cultivation jade card, such as the 9th assignment, catching Lei Junfeng. It simply does not need to be exchanged with contribution points. If you had gone to the Great Liangtru country, then you would have been directly rewarded with a month's worth of cultivation time in the small spiritual domain. But fortunately you did not go. Ningcheng quickly asked again. You spoke about the 9th assignment. I have a question to ask you. That Lei Junfeng is a traitor to the academy. What exactly did he do? Is the reward for catching him so generous? A year's worth of cultivation time in the small spiritual domain. Just thinking about it is simply inconceivable. Isn't that so? Not to mention you, who would not covet this assignment. But the difficulty of this assignment is simply too high. Who knows where he is hiding? Moreover, this Lei Junfeng is incomparably powerful. When he was at the late stages of the soul essence realm, he was able to fight against early-stage soul sculpting cultivators without falling into a disadvantageous position. I heard that he has already advanced to the soul sculpting realm. With this kind of ability, without the cultivation of the sea-opening realm, one should not even think about fighting against him. As Jin Liang'an spoke till here, he suddenly lowered his voice and spoke to Ning Cheng. Do you know what crime that Lei Junfeng committed? He raped the academy's deputy academy head Dan Wenyao's Dao companion, Bei Xiaolan. This kind of person is simply too daring. Jin Liang'an suddenly remembered that Ning Cheng was also a daring person. As such, he did not continue to speak, and instead gave an embarrassed smile. Ning Cheng was stunned for a moment. Wasn't this person too awesome? He even dared to forcefully sleep with the deputy academy head's wife. This assignment was indeed too difficult, not to mention that he did not know where Lei Junfeng was hiding. Even if he knew, what could he do to others? Junior apprentice brother Jin, you said that I was fortunate not to go to the great Liang True country. What was that all about? Ning Cheng suddenly remembered the last sentence that Jin Liang'an had spoken a moment ago. Jin Liang'an pursed his lips and spoke. Just look at the 17th assignment. 3 months ago, the true inheriting disciples and the core disciples went to the battlefield of the great Liang True country and the northern Shang True country for this assignment. I did not expect that there would be a problem with this assignment. None of the disciples who went before came back, and there was no news at all. Later on, the 17th assignment was reissued, and another group of disciples went, but none of them came back, and there was no news at all. Now that the 17th assignment has been issued for the 3rd time, even if the rewards were more generous, who would dare to take up this assignment? Ning Cheng then saw that there were a few more notes below the 17th assignment, but the one that attracted Ning Cheng the most was actually to cultivate in the small spiritual domain for a year. Not only that, but the final reward for the contribution points was also 1,000,000 contribution points. My goodness! The rewards for this assignment were just too generous. At the same time, Ning Cheng also thought of Liang Kersen and Sun Hanrui. The two of them could be regarded as his friends, but they had gone missing while carrying out an academy assignment, so he was also very worried about them. Junior apprentice brother Jin, since so many disciples have not come back, then why did the academy's elders and senior experts not go? Why did they issue the assignment here? Ning Cheng was very puzzled. Jin Liang'an lowered his voice and spoke. Why didn't they go? Many crucible transformation experts have gone there, but after the crucible transformation experts went there was no response, nor were they able to find any problems. Only cultivators below the soul essence realm would suddenly go missing. Moreover, it was not only the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, even the core disciples and true inheriting disciples of the other academies who went there also went missing. Chapter 273. I'll go ask around. Ning Cheng patted Jin Liang'an's shoulder as he walked towards the academy's assignment hall. I want to ask. Ning Cheng had not even spoken a word when he was interrupted by a female cultivator. Which assignment do you want to take? Just give me your identity jade card and the assignment number. There is no need for any nonsense. Ning Cheng helplessly spoke. I want to take the 17th assignment. When the impatient-looking female cultivator heard Ning Cheng's words, her hands trembled. She looked up in disbelief and repeated the sentence. You said that you want to take the 17th assignment? I asked you to explain, but you did not explain, so I had to take it directly. Ning Cheng spoke in a somewhat depressed manner. The female cultivator unexpectedly did not flare up, instead she frowned and spoke. So far, including our Rainbow Fall Sword sect, all the disciples with the cultivation of soul essence realm or below who took the 17th assignment, none of them have returned, nor is there any news about them. Are you sure you still want to take the 17th assignment? Ning Cheng already knew about this, he just asked. I want to ask, if I do not complete the assignment and come back halfway, will I be punished? No, this assignment is voluntary, the female cultivator replied without hesitation. Ningcheng, on hearing this affirmative answer, immediately spoke. Good, then I will take the 17th assignment. At worst, if he discovered danger, then he would not go. In case he tried his luck and found out something, the Academy's reward would be enough for him to cultivate in the small spiritual domain for more than a year. The female cultivator did not try to persuade Ningcheng again, as she nodded and spoke. This time there are some changes to the 17th assignment. There are also disciples from other academies. When you get there, the elders will tell you what to do. This is the assignment jade card and the map, as well as the description of the assignment. Take it, I wish you good luck. Ningcheng walked out of the assignment hall and found Jin Liang'an discussing something with a few profound core cultivators. He guessed that they were planning to go out together with the assignment hall. Ningcheng and Jin Liang'an said their goodbyes and immediately left the assignment hall. He did not even go back to his own place, as Ningcheng directly went to the Great Liang True Country and the Northern Shang True Country's battlefield. He was still somewhat worried about the Liang Curson duo. As for the reason for the war between the two true countries, the Jade Strip was very vague, but there was also a general idea. A few years ago, in the territory of the Great Liang True Country, at the border between the Northern Shang True Country and the Great Liang True Country, an ancient immortal's cave suddenly appeared. The Northern Shang True Country was the first to receive this information. They immediately wanted to occupy this place and search for this ancient cave that had suddenly appeared. However, the Great Liang True Country also came to know that an ancient immortal's cave had appeared in their territory, and certainly would not allow the Northern Shang True Country to occupy it. Then, the Northern Shang True Country used the excuse that the Great Liang True Country had kidnapped the Northern Shang True Country's princess, and demanded that the Great Liang True Country hand over the princess, or else they would have to cede their territory as compensation. Because of this, the two countries went through several years of war and countless people died. In the end, this matter was still exposed, and some sects intervened in this matter. At this time, this matter had already gone out of control, and was completely beyond the control of the Great Liang True Country and the Northern Shang True Country. Once the ancient cave mansion was exposed, the war between the two countries came to a temporary halt. That was because this immortal cave was simply too ancient and huge. Moreover, only cultivators at or below the soul essence realm could enter it. He even heard that in the deepest part of the immortal cave, there was a place where the spiritual chi was the densest, and only cultivators below the profound congealing realm could enter it. So some of the soul essence cultivators who participated in the exploration of this immortal cave would bring along one or two profound congealing cultivators. Otherwise, if he encountered this place, he wouldn't be able to enter it. But the strange thing was that the disciples of these sects went to the place where the two countries were fighting, and after entering this ancient cavern, they disappeared one after another. In the end, none of them returned. As for how they disappeared, no one knew. In the beginning, there was still an entrance to the cave. Towards the end, the ancient cave mansion actually gradually disappeared without a trace. Even if this ancient immortal cave disappeared, the cultivators in the soul essence realm, or below who came to this immortal cave would still disappear without any warning. These disciples who came out to complete the mission were the elite disciples of the major academies, causing the crucible transformation cultivators of the major academies to immediately be unable to sit still. Some of the crucible transformation cultivators also began to come out. However, none of these crucible transformation cultivators were able to find the reason behind it. Fortunately, although the crucible transformation cultivators were not able to find the reason, they did not end up disappearing like the disciples who were on a mission. This matter had now become a mystery. As more and more disciples went missing, some of the rogue cultivators also began to take up the academy's missions, but they still ended up disappearing. As such, the number of disciples who took up this mission was also getting fewer and fewer. In order to find out the truth behind this mystery, it was necessary for some of the cultivators below the soul essence realm to participate in this mission. Only then would the crucible transformation cultivators be able to find some clues from the missing cultivators. Ningqing put away the jade strip, as he had already guessed it in his heart. If he took up this mission, then he would have to take up the job of a cannon fodder, or perhaps he would have to take up the job of a guinea pig. Ningqing was also aware of his own situation. He had already cultivated in the small spiritual domain. If he did not have the small spiritual domain in the future, then if he wanted to advance, it would be too difficult. In order to cultivate in the small spiritual domain for a year, he had to fight for it. Besides, he also had a magical weapon for escaping that others did not know about. That is, in the case of a last resort, he could crush the talisman given to him by the skeleton, allowing him to enter the bottom of the blood river. Ningqing's flight-type magical weapon was a medium-grade flight-type spiritual artifact. In order to arrive earlier, Ningqing not only activated the flight-type magical weapon at full speed, but also used the twin heavenly cloud wings. Even so, it was not until 10 days later that he finally arrived at the location marked on the map in the jade strip. In front of his eyes was an endless desolation. There were potholes everywhere. Some broken weapons and fragments of low-leveled magical weapons were strewn all over the place. In many places, even the soil was somewhat dark red, apparently because it had been contaminated by too much blood. In the places that Ningqing's spiritual consciousness could reach, other than a dark gray-colored building, there was nothing else. According to the introduction on the jade strip, Ningqing came to know that this dark gray-colored building was temporarily built by the major academies. If he wanted to take up this mission, then he would first have to go to this gray-colored building, and then listen to the instructions of the academy's elders. Ningqing put away the flight-type magical weapon, and had just walked to the entrance of the building, when he was stopped by two cultivators. "Which academy are you from?" My goodness, these two cultivators guarding the door were also in the soul sculpting realm. This junior is Rainbow Fall Sword Sect's inner sect disciple Ningqing. This time I specifically came here for this mission. Ningqing quickly cupped his fists and replied in a polite manner. The soul sculpting cultivator on the left nodded and spoke. "The Rainbow Fall Sword Sect is on the 3rd floor, the 5th room on the left." "Many thanks." Ningqing once again thanked them, as he sped up the stairs. Alas, a month ago there were groups of soul essence cultivators who came to take up this mission. But now what kind of people are there? Even profound core first-level cultivators have come to take up this mission. Another soul-sculpting realm cultivator, seeing Ningqing walk away, shook his head and spoke with a sigh. The soul-sculpting cultivator who pointed out Ningqing's path spoke up in disapproval. "Today there were at least 3 people who came, but in the past few days, I have not seen even one of them come to take up this mission. I guess that this place will soon be demolished. Moreover, with so many disciples disappearing, there is still no clue as to what to do. This is not something that we can manage." Although Ningqing had already gone upstairs, he could still hear the voices of the 2 soul-sculpting realm cultivators behind him. "Come in." Ningqing had just arrived at the door of the 5th room on the left side of the 3rd floor, when a voice arrived in his ears. Such a powerful cultivation. This voice was as if it was coming from the opposite side, without even half a shred of distortion. Ningqing did not dare to hesitate, as he quickly pushed open the door and walked in. 5 male and female cultivators were sitting inside the room, while there were 2 young cultivators standing in the middle of the room. Although the aura of these 5 male and female cultivators was not overflowing, it still gave Ningqing a strong sense of oppression. Ningqing was simply unable to see the cultivation of these 5 people. But he immediately understood that these 5 people were definitely crucible transformation cultivators. Rainbow Fall Sword Sect's inner sect disciple Ningqing greets the 5 seniors. Knowing that he was facing 5 crucible transformation cultivators, Ningqing did not dare to neglect them, as he quickly bowed and greeted them. "And not bad, although your cultivation is a bit low, but you are quite calm." An old man, on seeing Ningqing's calm appearance, nodded. A middle-aged Confucian scholar sitting on the right side also nodded in satisfaction towards Ningqing and spoke. "Ningqing, I think you should be aware of the dangers of this mission. Even if you give up now, it would still be excusable. Up until now, none of the disciples who participated in this mission have returned. As such, the news that we obtained is also very little. This mission will soon be cancelled, and will be replaced by another way to track it down." When Ningqing heard the words of this middle-aged Confucian scholar, He immediately came up with a few meanings. First, this mission was very dangerous. Moreover, letting the disciples participate in it would only be for the cannon fodder to search for clues. Second, because the cannon fodder would obtain too little beneficial news, this mission would soon not be carried out in this way. Third, the other party wanted to persuade him to give up on this mission. For a crucible transformation cultivator to care about the life and death of an inner sect disciple, it could be seen that this crucible transformation elder was quite a good person. Ningqing once again cupped his fists and spoke, "Many thanks to the seniors. My Rainbow Fallsword sect's true inheriting disciples and core disciples are participating in this mission. I am just an inner sect disciple, participating in the Academy's mission, contributing to the Academy, while at the same time improving one's own cultivation. It is all part of one's duty." A beautiful woman giggled and spoke, "Elder Bei, this kid from your Rainbow Fallsword sect really knows how to talk, ah." When Ningqing heard these words, he came to understand that the 5 crucible transformation cultivators here were not all from the Rainbow Fallsword sect. There were also people from other academies. The middle-aged Confucian scholar gave a chuckle and spoke, "Junior apprentice sister, he is overpraising me. This disciple from your star-gathering mansion and that little girl from the Severing Emotions Dao sect are much stronger than Ningqing." The Rainbow Fallsword sect's elder then directly turned to Ningqing and spoke, "Ningqing, this time you and the star-gathering mansion Xinghai, as well as the Severing Emotions Dao sect's Bumei will go together to investigate the situation. Remember, as long as you are able to find some clues and come back, it would be equivalent to performing a meritorious deed. Here is a jade talisman. Once you find that something is wrong, immediately crush the jade talisman, and you will immediately be teleported away." "Yes, this junior understands," Ningqing quickly responded, as he stepped forward and received the jade talisman. Chapter 274. The middle-aged Confucian scholar from the Rainbow Fallsword sect, on seeing Ningqing take the jade talisman, turned towards the 2 young men and women standing in the middle of the room, and spoke with a smile. "This time our Rainbow Fallsword sect's Ningqing has the lowest cultivation. The 2 of you are both at the Soul Essence first level. You must take care of junior apprentice brother Ningqing, ah." The young male cultivator, on hearing the middle-aged Confucian scholar's words, quickly bowed and spoke, "Senior Bei, please rest assured. Xianhai will definitely take care of junior apprentice brother Ning." The middle-aged beautiful woman stared at the young male cultivator standing in front of her and spoke, saying that you are fat yet you are still panting. The Rainbow Fallsword sect has a deep heritage. Do not look at you as a soul essence cultivator. Even if you go in, you might not necessarily be able to compare to this Ningqing. Ningqing then came to know that the 2 young men and woman standing in the middle were Xianhai and Bumei, who had come with him this time. Xianhai very politely responded to the words of the Rainbow Fallsword sect's middle-aged scholar, while that Severing Emotions Dao sect's Bumei acted as if she did not hear it, as she still stood there motionless. "Junior apprentice brother Ning, your cultivation is still too low, so you can temporarily follow behind me. Once something goes wrong, you can immediately crush the jade talisman in your hand." After Xianhai came out, he really took care of Ningqing. "Many thanks, senior apprentice brother Xian." Ningqing thanked him and then asked, "Are you sure that Crucible Transformation Senior would not have any problems entering this place?" Xianhai spoke in a dignified manner. "This is where the problem lies. Not only did the Crucible Transformation Seniors come in without any problems, but even if we followed the Crucible Transformation Seniors, we would still be fine. There is also a strange place, the place where the immortal cave appeared. Even the spiritual consciousness of a Crucible Transformation cultivator would not be able to reach it." "Isn't this an array formation?" Ningqing asked. Xianhai nodded and spoke, "I heard from those Crucible Transformation Seniors that this place is an array formation. It's just that even a Tier 9 array formation Grandmaster can't see what kind of array formation this is, let alone us." Speaking till here, Xianhai suddenly changed the topic. "You are just a profound core cultivator and you dare to come here. It really is amazing. However, you still have to listen to me. Although the sect's rewards are good, you still have to act within your capabilities." Ningqing already had some understanding of Xian Hai's temperament. He knew that Xian Hai's words were not meant to ridicule him, but rather out of goodwill. I will try to be careful. Moreover, senior apprentice brother Xian will also take care of me. I know what to do. Ningqing casually said. Sure enough, Xian Hai grinned, as he stretched out his chubby palm and patted Ningqing's shoulder and spoke. Junior apprentice brother Ning can rest assured, even if something happens, as long as we crush the jade talisman in time, we will be able to teleport out. Although I will take care of you, you have to be careful at all times. Severing emotions. Dao Sec's junior apprentice sister Bu's cultivation is also very powerful. As such, she will definitely take care of you 1 or 2 times. From the moment Ningqing saw the other party, the young female cultivator, who had not spoken until now, frowned but still did not speak. Junior apprentice brother Ning, you have to pay attention. Behind this yellow line is the dangerous area. The disciples who came in to look for the immortal cave, all of them went missing in the back. Xian Hai pointed to a thick yellow line at his feet, as he reminded Ningqing. Ningqing stepped over the yellow line and looked at the still desolate area. Because of the war, the place was full of potholes, and spoke with some doubts. There is nothing here? There are no forests or ravines, nor are there any dangerous peaks or rivers. How could it disappear here? Ningqing's words suddenly stopped. He found that Xian Hai and Bu Mei who were beside him had suddenly disappeared. There was no sign at all. There was no fluctuation at all. Ningqing's scalp tingled, as he felt his whole body become light. The next moment he suddenly appeared in a dark hall. Not to mention about crushing the jade talisman. He did not even have the opportunity to react. At this time, Ningqing once again crushed the jade talisman, but it did not have the slightest effect. There was not a single person around the hall. In addition to the cold and gloomy feeling, it was just a cold and gloomy feeling. Ningqing's attention immediately concentrated. He felt that this place was no longer under his control. This was definitely a transfer array, but the grade of this transfer array was too high. Even a Tier 9 array formation Grandmaster would not be able to see through it. It seems that Xian Hai and Bu Mei were not sent to the same place as him. Although Ningqing's attention and his spiritual consciousness were constantly observing the situation around him, but even after staying in the hall for a long time, he did not see any danger. The only thing that was different was that there was a very strange aura surrounding this hall. If Ningqing had not come into contact with the power of hope, then he certainly would not be able to know what kind of power this was. Ningqing had come into contact with the power of hope, so he could feel that it was similar to the power of hope, but it was definitely not the power of hope. At the same time, Ningqing also found that this hall did not have an exit. As such, he carefully entered the depths of the hall. When he reached the deepest part of the hall, he saw a faint ray of light shooting out. This ray of light was extremely comfortable to touch with his spiritual consciousness. Obviously, this was the spiritual chi ray. Ningqing's heart moved, as he immediately sped up his pace. At the same time, in a fairy tale-like snow-white ice house, there were more than 100 cultivators frozen inside. These cultivators ranged from the profound congealing realm to the soul essence realm. This snow-white ice house had a strange name. It was called the Karma House. All the cultivators inside the Karma House had a common characteristic. That is, all of them were frozen inside a crystal-clear icicle. Moreover, all the cultivators inside the Karma House had brought out their own magical weapons to protect their entire body, but at the same time they were not able to move, as they were resisting the terrible cold of the icicles. Suddenly, one of the cultivators inside the icicles trembled slightly, as the luster of his defensive magical weapon dimmed. Then a catch sound emerged, as a faint shadow floated out of the cultivator's body, and fell into the huge cauldron at the top of the ice house. The next moment, the cultivator frozen inside the icicles began to melt at a speed visible to the naked eye, before slowly disappearing from sight. The rest of the cultivators inside the icicles were silent on seeing this scene. In addition to desperately using their magical weapons to block the cold of the icicles, they did not have any other way. This kind of scene happened constantly in this ice house every day. There were several disciples from the major academies, as well as many rogue cultivators who came here for a mission. After landing here, they would all be sent to this ice house, and at the same time be frozen. Then no matter how much you tried to resist the cold, as long as you could not resist it, your soul would float out of your body and enter the huge cauldron at the top of the ice house. Once the soul disappeared, the corporeal body would decompose at a speed visible to the naked eye. After the corporeal body decomposed, all the magical weapons and other things would disappear. Moreover, being frozen in this ice house had nothing to do with one's cultivation. The higher your cultivation, the more powerful the icicles that froze you would be. Being frozen in this ice house, only a cultivator with a good defensive magical weapon, coupled with a powerful spiritual consciousness and true essence, would be able to resist for a longer time. However, it would only be able to resist for a longer time. In the end, they would still turn into ice slag and disappear without a trace. Only in this place could one see the difference between rogue cultivators and the disciples of the academies. Those who could use magical weapons to protect themselves from being frozen for a few months. Most of them were the disciples of the academies. There were only a few rogue cultivators. However, as time went by, the icicles in this ice house were also getting fewer and fewer. At most there were more than 1,000 icicles, but now there were only a little more than 100. Another 3 Taoist shadows landed in 3 different corners. Everyone in the ice house knew that this ice house was about to add 3 more icicles. Although the people who came in could not see the ice house, but the people inside the ice house could clearly see the people who came in. They themselves had also come in the same way, and as long as they casually took any of the treasures, they would immediately be transmitted to the ice house, and then frozen by the icicles. This hall was just like the name of the ice house. It was very strange. If you did not take anything from here, then you would never be transmitted to the ice house. In fact, after entering this hall, there was not a single cultivator who could resist not taking anything. Moreover, after entering this hall, it seemed that they would only remember that this was an ancient immortal cave, and only knew that they had come here to look for some good things. As for how they came here, it would become vague in their consciousness, or perhaps it was not important, or even simply not willing to think about it. How come Ningqing is also here? Liang Kursen, who was frozen in the icicles, immediately recognized Ningqing, and immediately gave out a sigh. Ningqing was indeed powerful, but he would soon end up the same as her, frozen in this ice house, and then slowly waiting for death. For a profound congealing cultivator to persist in this ice house for 3 or 4 months without dying, there were definitely no more than 5, and she, Liang Kursen, was one of them. Only she knew that she was once a soul essence cultivator. Her trump cards were far more than that of an average profound congealing cultivator, but even so, she knew that she was only 1 or 2 days away from falling. Low-grade true artifact? When Xian Hai was transmitted down, he was somewhat surprised, but when he saw a low-grade true artifact, he did not hesitate to reach out and grab it. At this moment, he had completely forgotten how he came in. The frozen cultivators in the ice house shook their heads. This guy's resistance was simply too poor. Just a low-grade true artifact was enough to make him unable to bear it. But thinking of themselves, this kind of shaking of their heads immediately turned into a deep sigh. Initially because they saw a treasure that they liked, and then reached out to grab it, didn't they end up being transmitted to this karma house? The moment Xian Hai grabbed the low-grade true artifact, a kind of force that he simply could not resist swept over him. He immediately knew that it was not good. It was only at this moment that he remembered what was going on. But not waiting for him to react, the next moment he also appeared in the ice house, and was frozen in place by an icicle. Looking at the more than 100 icicles in the ice house, and each icicle had a cultivator trapped inside, Xian Hai at this moment completely came to understand. No wonder so many cultivators had disappeared. It turned out that these cultivators were the same as him, because they wanted to take the treasures here. They ended up being frozen in this ice house. His thoughts had just turned to this point, when a ray of light flashed inside the ice house, and another icicle appeared out of thin air inside the ice house. Looking at Bumei inside the icicle, Xian Hai shook his head. He knew that this junior apprentice brother Ning would soon come over. A burst of cold air assaulted him, as if it wanted to tear apart his corporeal body, and then suck away his soul. Xian Hai hurriedly brought out his own defensive magical weapon to protect his entire body. Only then did he feel a little better. Immediately he saw Ningcheng, as Ningcheng also walked into the luxurious hall that he had entered before. Chapter 275. Ningcheng followed this ray of light and arrived at a new hall. This hall was well lit, and was much better than the dark hall from before. Not only that, but the main hall was also very luxurious, and was paved with precious materials that Ningcheng could not identify. The surrounding was incomparably rich in spiritual qi, causing Ningcheng to speculate that this hall was the immortal cave that everyone was looking for. But it was so easy for him to find it, it made Ningcheng somewhat unable to believe it. Ningcheng's gaze swept out. He couldn't help but think that if this was the ancient immortal cave, then wouldn't there be a lot of treasures here? Immediately, a supreme-grade flying spiritual artifact appeared in his sight. Best quality flight-type spiritual artifacts, even if it was a soul-sculpting realm cultivator, it would still have a great attraction. In just a few steps, Ningcheng arrived at the side of the best quality flight-type spiritual artifact. It could be said that any low-leveled cultivator would not be able to hold back their love for this flight-type spiritual artifact. Moreover, Ningcheng also found that this best quality flight-type spiritual artifact did not even have half a restriction around it, which meant that he could casually take it away. Liang Kursen, who was inside the icicle, on seeing Ningcheng rush towards the flight-type magical weapon, gave out a sigh. She knew that with Ningcheng's virtue, he would definitely immediately reach out to grab it. Then they came to this igloo together. Almost all the people in the ice house thought that Ningcheng would reach out and grab it, but Ningcheng did not immediately grab this flight-type magical weapon. This best quality flight-type spiritual artifact was very precious to all of the lower-leveled cultivators, but Ningcheng was an exception. Ningcheng had the twin heavenly cloud wings. Moreover, he had recently obtained a new pair of taintless silver wing feathers. Moreover, he also had the true Brahma Buddha fire wheel, which was driven by the power of hope. Therefore, its speed was much faster than this best quality flight-type spirit artifact. It was precisely because Ning City had so many good things that he did not immediately go and grab them. However, this did not mean that Ningcheng did not like this best quality spiritual artifact. In fact, he was equally tempted by this best quality spiritual artifact. Just because he was useless didn't mean others were useless. What about Ji Luofei? At the same time, it was also because Ningcheng did not immediately grab this flight-type magical weapon that he was aware of a trace of something wrong. This was merely a top-grade flying spiritual artifact, but he could feel a trace of extraordinary spiritual energy coming from it. That's right, it was different. This kind of spiritual energy was completely different from the spiritual energy he usually absorbed. Not only was it different, but it was also several levels higher. This spiritual energy, which was several grades higher, gave him a familiar feeling. Ningcheng's memory was incomparably powerful, and instantly remembered where he had encountered this kind of spiritual qi. It was in the forbidden land of the frigid river. Originally, the forbidden cold river was called the Thunderfall Scorching River. Later, because an immortal mansion fell at the bottom of the river, it became the Cold River. Ningcheng also knew that the reason why the Thunderfall Scorching River had turned into a cold river was because of the Star River fire seed in his Zifu. When he followed the white-haired old woman to the bottom of the cold river, the white-haired old woman entered the immortal mansion, while he kept the Star River outside the immortal mansion. At the same time, he also absorbed the spiritual qi outside the immortal mansion to cultivate. That kind of spiritual energy was exactly the same as this one. It was very beneficial for cultivation. Could this be an immortal residence? This is the Zhuohe immortal abode? As soon as he thought of this, Ningcheng immediately thought of the scene of the white-haired old woman being blasted out of the immortal mansion and suffering severe injuries. His cultivation was worlds apart from that white-haired old woman's. As such, he did not want to be blasted out of the immortal mansion because of a dispensable thing. It would be fine if he was blasted out, but it wouldn't be worth it if he died here. Whether it was the burning he immortal mansion or not, Ningcheng felt that he should not be limited to one or two magical weapons. If he could refine the entire immortal mansion, then what about it? Once he refined this immortal abode, everything in this immortal abode would belong to him. He already had the everlasting Blue Thunder City in his Zifu. Who could be sure that he would not be able to refine this immortal mansion? It's just a best quality spiritual artifact, it's not even worth mentioning. Ningqing muttered to himself, as he unexpectedly bypassed this flight-type magical weapon, and continued to walk inside. He was thinking about where he could find the mansion steel to refine the immortal mansion. Once he found the steel, he would refine the immortal mansion. Not to mention a supreme-grade spiritual weapon. Even a brick inside would be his. In the end, if he really couldn't find the mansion steel, he would come back and take away this supreme-grade spiritual weapon. What was going on? All the cultivators frozen in the ice pillars in the ice houses stared at Ningqing in doubt. A profound core first-level cultivator. Why was he able to remain indifferent in the face of a best-quality flight-type magical weapon that was within his reach? Why did he just take a look at it and walk away? This kind of temperament, wasn't it just too high and mighty? Even Liang Kersen was looking at Ningqing with a puzzled expression. Even if her face was pale, and her hands were trembling slightly, she could not understand why Ningqing did not take away that supreme-grade spiritual artifact. In her view, Ningqing was a person who was not willing to suffer a loss, so how could he ignore this kind of benefit? Ningqing had only taken a few steps, when he once again saw a magical weapon. This time it was not a supreme-grade spiritual artifact, but rather a low-grade true artifact. It was also a flight-type magical weapon. This was a very beautiful airship-type magical weapon. Among all the airship-type magical weapons that Ningqing had seen before, it was not as beautiful as this airship-type magical weapon. Ningqing subconsciously wanted to raise his hand to grab it, but the rich spiritual qi in the air caused Ningqing to quiver. He instantly understood that the place he was in might be an immortal mansion. Once he grabbed this low-grade true artifact, then he would have to think of the white-haired old woman's fate. Two coveting magical weapons appeared in front of Ningqing, causing Ningqing's heart to become even more fiery. He secretly made up his mind that he must find the steel of this immortal mansion. He vowed not to give up until he found it. As for why he was suddenly transferred to this place, Ningqing had completely forgotten about it. At this moment, he only had a single thought in his mind, that is, this is an immortal mansion. If I want to refine this immortal mansion, then I will not be able to just take one or two things. Barely suppressing his own fanaticism, Ningqing casually spoke up. Alas, it's just a trivial low-grade true artifact magical weapon. My family's backyard is filled with them, forget it, let's just take a look. After talking to him for a while, Ningqing sped up his pace. He was thinking in his heart that this immortal mansion would soon become his family's backyard. Another trivial low-grade true artifact? Could a low-grade true artifact even be considered trivial? Even for a crucible transformation cultivator, a low-grade true artifact flight-type magical weapon was extremely precious. At this time, the cultivators frozen in the ice house were completely speechless. What kind of freak was this? Was his temperament really so noble that it was completely different from them? Could he really resist this kind of temptation? Even the few soul essence cultivators who were trapped in the icicles were staring at Ningqing in a daze. They had never seen such a strange fellow before. While Ningqing was looking for the steel to refine the immortal mansion, he also felt that he was attracted by the magical weapons in this place. There was a very important thing that he could not remember, or rather, he was not willing to think about it. An incomparably soft white light suddenly appeared in front of Ningqing, causing Ningqing to stare at a beautiful flying all-type magical weapon in front of him. Moreover, it was a flight-type magical weapon. However, this was definitely a middle-grade true artifact. On the left and right sides of the flying all-type magical weapon, there was also a pair of faint hidden wings. Moreover, the hidden wings had two grooves, which was the place to place the spirit stones. This flying all-type magical weapon gave Ningqing a feeling that once he sat on it, even a sea-opening realm cultivator would not necessarily be able to catch up with him. This thing was definitely better than his true Brahma Buddha fire wheel. It was something that he had always dreamed of. Although the true Brahma Buddha fire wheel's speed was much faster than this, but it required the power of hope to propel it. Moreover, the power of hope that he used would decrease. This thing must be taken, Ningqing took a step forward and raised his hand to grab it. However, as his hand stretched out halfway, he suddenly remembered something. He said that it was just a trifling best quality flight-type spiritual artifact, but a low-grade true artifact appeared. He said that it was just a trifling low-grade true artifact, but a middle-grade flying all-type true artifact appeared. These things seemed to have increased in grade according to his dissatisfaction. In just a moment, Ningqing once again reacted. This place was an immortal mansion. He was still looking for the steel a moment ago, and was ready to refine this immortal mansion. How could he forget about it in just a blink of an eye? Ningqing slowly retracted his hand, and began to concentrate on circulating his true essence. After the true essence circulated through his meridians, his sea of consciousness immediately turned clear, and then his Zifu also became incomparably clear. He finally remembered something that he had not remembered before. That is, he did not come here on his own, but was forcibly transferred here. There was definitely something strange about this place. Ningqing slowly sighed. Fortunately, he was experienced and knowledgeable, and had already seen the Zhuahe Immortal Mansion. Moreover, he also had a lot of good things. As such, he would not be attracted by such a small thing. At the same time, his Zifu had been reshaped by the mysterious yellow origin, which really was not ordinary, allowing him to sober up quickly. Seeing Ningqing reach out and grab the middle-grade true artifact flying all the people trapped in the ice house finally breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, this person was still normal. If he did not even want this middle-grade flying all-type true artifact, then it would really be too abnormal. But then all the people were shocked, as they saw Ningqing unexpectedly retract his hand. What was going on? How could this person's willpower be so strong? Ningqing was secretly afraid in his heart. Once his mind sobered up, he completely understood what was going on. His mind was now clear, and his sea of consciousness was also clear. It was clear that after he entered this place, he had become abnormal, or rather, he had become greedy. If there was no one controlling this place, then even if he was beaten to death, he would not believe it. If a middle-grade flying all-type true artifact had appeared from the beginning, then maybe he would have fallen into a trap. Fortunately, it was only a best-quality spiritual artifact magical artifact that appeared at the beginning. Knowing that there might be someone controlling these things, Ningqing's heart suddenly jumped up. He swept out with his spiritual consciousness, but could not find even the slightest bit of strangeness. Ningqing suddenly took out a few high-grade spirit stones from his ring, and threw them at the flying all-type magical artifact. Why does this thing look like a food trough for chickens? Rubbish, it's really rubbish. It's an eyesore, it's really an eyesore. Papa. A few spirit stones smashed onto the flying all, but Ningqing simply turned around and walked away. Although Ningqing could not see the ice house, but the cultivators inside the ice house were all staring at Ningqing with wide eyes. A middle-grade flight-type true artifact was actually a food trough for chickens? How could this person think of such a thing? Moreover, he even used spirit stones to smash it? At this time, the huge cauldron in the ice house suddenly trembled, as if there was an angry aura surrounding the huge cauldron. However, all the frozen cultivators in the ice house were paying attention to Ningqing, this living treasure, and completely ignored the huge cauldron. Chapter 276. Ningqing guessed that this place was similar to an immortal mansion, and that someone was specifically controlling it. He was anxiously thinking of countermeasures in his heart, but he did not know that there were so many pairs of eyes watching his actions. Spiritual enhancement true nectar? Ningqing had only taken a few steps, when he once again saw a huge jade barrel. This jade barrel did not have a lid, but from the liquid inside the jade barrel, he could clearly see that this was a barrel of spiritual enhancement true nectar. Even if the cultivators in the ice houses were frozen solid, seeing so much spiritual enhancement true nectar, they could not help but simultaneously reveal a covetous look. Hey, why is there such a big bucket of bath water? The people living in this house are really filthy. They even collect bathing water? What a pervert. Ningqing tried hard to remember how he came in, while at the same time muttered to himself in disdain. Ningqing even used his spiritual consciousness to repeatedly sweep through this spiritual enhancement true nectar, and finally determined that it was not an illusion, but the real spiritual enhancement true nectar. But in the depths of his heart, he had a feeling that this spiritual enhancement true nectar was not real. It was just that this kind of fake thing had reached the point where even he couldn't recognize it. If this was the real spiritual enhancement true nectar, then Ningcheng would truly feel some disdain towards it. Saying that the spiritual enhancement true nectar was a kind of bathwater was not wrong. At least he and Yanji had used this thing to take a bath. But what if he did not have this kind of spiritual enhancement true nectar? Would he forget how he came in again, and then grab the bucket of spiritual enhancement true nectar, and throw it into his ring? After Ningcheng said that this bucket of spiritual enhancement true nectar was bathwater, he could feel that there was a kind of anger in it. This made Ningcheng more and more sure that there was someone controlling this place. Moreover, this person would even become incomparably angry at him for disdaining the things inside. Fortunately, he had a lot of things. Moreover, his Zifu was also reshaped by the mysterious yellow origin. As such, it would not be easy for him to once again fall into a state of greed. Ningcheng did not know why so many good things kept appearing in this place, but he was sure that the reason why these good things kept appearing was because they wanted him to take them away. He was not going to take it away now. What could he do about it? Thinking till here, Ningcheng casually took out a jade ladle and scooped up a ladle of spiritual enhancement true nectar from his own pond. He first used the spiritual enhancement true nectar to wash his hands, and then smashed the spiritual enhancement true nectar on the ground and spoke. This kind of thing, this father uses it every day to wash my feet and my buttocks. What kind of doghouse is this? Why is it filled with rubbish? There's nothing that can move my heart. I'm really disappointed. Too disappointed. With his mouth full of disdain, Ningcheng's hand was already gripping the talisman given to him by the skeleton. Once the situation went wrong, he would immediately crush the talisman. Ningcheng believed that the talisman given to him by the skeleton was extraordinary, and would definitely allow him to return to the bottom of the blood river. If he couldn't even protect himself, how could he talk about saving people? In any case, he now had the best quality spirit stones. At worst, he would just have to come out again. If that skeleton could give him a talisman, then it could definitely give him a second one. When Ningcheng said that the spiritual enhancement true nectar was nothing more than trash bathing water, the cultivators who were staring at Ningcheng from the ice house were completely dumbfounded. This was the spiritual enhancement true nectar. Just a dozen drops would be enough for a cultivator to comprehend it once. But here was a large barrel, and Ningcheng had actually said that this barrel was bathing water. Some of the trapped cultivators were already speculating that Ningcheng knew that these things could not be taken away. As such, he would only say such words. But how could Ningcheng, a profound core cultivator, know about it? Even if he knew about it, how could he control the emotions of wanting good things? The huge cauldron on top of the ice house could not help but roar, as the intermittent swaying immediately attracted the attention of the cultivators trapped inside the ice house. Although the people inside the icicles were aware that they were trapped, it was to make them automatically overflow their souls into the huge cauldron if they could not resist it. But now that the huge cauldron really started swaying, it really made all the people inside feel shocked. However, the people inside the ice house quickly used all of their strength to resist the cold of the icicles. They all knew that even if they panicked, it would not be of any use. The existence inside this ice house seemed to have a principle, that is, you must take the initiative to take away his things. Only then would you be trapped inside this ice house. Moreover, after being trapped inside this ice house, as long as you can resist the cold, then you would not have any problems. The existence inside the huge cauldron would also not force you to overflow your soul into the huge cauldron. Now that Ningcheng was constantly scolding the things in here as garbage, if they did not take these things, then it would arouse the anger of the existence inside the huge cauldron. Perhaps they would be able to escape. Thinking of this, almost all the people were looking forward to Ningcheng constantly scolding these things as garbage. The more he scolded them, the better it would be. Although they all knew that the things in here were not only not garbage, but they were also top quality things. When Ningcheng really took out the spiritual enhancement true nectar, and even used the spiritual enhancement true nectar to wash his hands, while simultaneously smashing the jade ladle, All the cultivators present were completely shocked. It turned out that he was not pretending. It turned out that these things in his eyes were really garbage. Even some of the cultivators who thought that Ning Cheng understood that the things in here could not be casually taken away, began to wonder. Did this profound core cultivator really know that the things in here could not be taken away? Or did he really think that the things in here were garbage? Only Liang Kersen knew that Ning Cheng really did have a lot of spiritual enhancement true nectar. As for how much, she was not very clear about it. At this moment, the huge cauldron that was constantly beating in anger also gradually calmed down. It seemed to be shocked that Ning Cheng had really taken out the spiritual enhancement true nectar. Moreover, was really throwing it around like it was washing his feet. If Ning Cheng did not do it intentionally, then what should he do? The existence inside the huge cauldron itself was a terrifying existence from ancient times. He cultivated karma. Everything has a cause and effect. If Ning Cheng really did not covet the cause of his immortal cave, then there was no way for him to obtain the result. As the huge cauldron gradually settled down, more and more good things continued to appear in front of Ning Cheng. Medium-grade offensive true artifact? Garbage. High-grade defensive true artifact? Garbage. Rank 8 Earth-grade pill? Garbage. Killing intent pill that can transform into immortal? Garbage. Garbage. Hey, there is a huge pill cauldron here. Ning Cheng called out garbage all the way, before finally stopping his footsteps and looking at a huge high-grade true artifact pill cauldron in front of him. The existence inside the huge cauldron, who was already on the verge of a violent rage, finally gave out a long sigh. This kid finally stopped. This father does not believe that there is nothing here that you can take a fancy to. He originally did not care about the soul of a profound core kid, but now he was even more eager to taste the taste of this profound core kid's soul. All the people in the ice house nervously looked at Ning Cheng, not knowing if Ning Cheng would take this pill cauldron or not. Ning Cheng circled around the pill cauldron for a long time, before he gave out a sigh and spoke. I originally wanted to take it back and use it as a toilet, but how come it still has a few corners? Can you even sit on this thing as a toilet? This is not garbage, it's even worse than garbage. This is a battle garbage among the garbage, ba. Spitting out a few mouthfuls of spittle into the pill cauldron. It really affects my vision, it also affects my mood. Even if he did not know what was a battle garbage among the garbage, the existence inside the huge cauldron still trembled in anger, almost going against his own karma Dao, directly grabbing Ning Cheng into the ice house, and then forcibly freezing him into an icicle. However, he still had his reason with his current cultivation. Even if he wanted to keep this immortal cave, it would still be somewhat difficult. Once he violated the karma Dao, then he would have to sink into oblivion for countless years. Ning Cheng's mind was clear, he was already clear about what was going on. He knew that he should have fallen into the control of someone else. These magical weapons and pills that were constantly appearing were the biggest explanation. The only way for him to survive was to call out the person who was secretly watching him, and then negotiate face to face. Ning Cheng clenched the talisman in his hands, as he suddenly spoke to himself. I don't know if there are any mirage stones in this place, but with this kind of garbage piled up like a mountain in an immortal cave, I guess that it would be very difficult to find such a good thing. Ning Cheng had not gone far, when he saw a jade table with 2 white things on it. It was precisely the mirage stones that Ning Cheng had just spoken about. Ning Cheng sneered in his heart. This person really thought that as long as he entered this place, he would completely forget about the cause and effect, and would completely lose himself in the things in this place, regardless of their origins. Unfortunately, he still remembered the cause and effect. He had just spoken about the mirage stones, and now a mirage stone had appeared. This thing was not fake, he did not believe it at all. Hey, there really is a mirage stone, ahaha. Luck, it really is luck. Ning Cheng was pleasantly surprised as he rubbed his hands together, as he looked at it again and again, while at the same time he gave a triumphant laugh. Little grasshopper, although this father's cultivation is not even a billionth of what it used to be, but do you think that I can't concoct a little thing like you? The existence inside the huge cauldron proudly looked at the excited Ning Cheng. What he did not expect was that Ning Cheng, who was still in high spirits a moment ago, suddenly flew into a rage. Looking at the quality of this mirage stone, It is at most a 7-colored mirage stone. I knew that this place was trash, but I did not think that it would be so trashy. This father even threw away a 9-colored mirage stone as if it was garbage, but this is just a 7-colored mirage stone. Yet it is still placed on a jade table. Which beggars immortal cave is this? Depressing. It is really depressing. I am going to leave, this place is too boring. Baba. After spitting out 2 mouthfuls of saliva, Ning Cheng threw the 9-colored mirage stone in his hands. What this grandfather wants is a 10-colored mirage stone. You even dare to take out a 7-colored mirage stone to make a fool of yourself. This grandfather will give you a 9-colored mirage stone. Take it and play with it, you poor ghost. Ning Cheng's words immediately caused the cultivators trapped in the ice house to laugh, even if they knew that they would not be able to escape, but Ning Cheng's actions were still a slap to their faces. Bastard! Mirage stones only have a maximum of 9 colors. Where did you get a 10-colored mirage stone? The existence inside the huge cauldron finally could not bear the anger in its heart. Even if its body was just a faint shadow, it still rushed out of the huge cauldron and roared at Ning Cheng. He really could not figure out from where did this best quality profound core cultivator come from. He even regretted it. Why did he bring this fellow in? Ning Cheng gave out a sigh. He finally managed to stir it up. Then he saw an ice house slowly emerge. Above the ice house hung the 3 words Karma House. Inside the ice house, there were more than 100 icicles. Each of these icicles seemed to have a cultivator trapped inside. Liang Kersen? Sun Hanrui? Ning Cheng immediately saw the 2 people trapped inside the icicles. Then Ning Cheng also saw Xian Hai who had just disappeared, along with Bumei, as well as several other soul essence cultivators from the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. These cultivators all had a common characteristic. That is, all of them were trapped inside an icicle. Chapter 277. You'd better take care of yourself, little thing. The faint phantom above the cauldron spoke with disdain. Ning Cheng turned his gaze towards this phantom. He suddenly had a strange feeling. From this phantom, he could see a familiar aura. When he had first obtained the Thunder Domain City, those powerful cultivators in the Great War had a similar aura to this phantom. This was definitely a terrifying powerhouse. Perhaps he was hiding in this place to cultivate and recuperate, just like that Fong Jian. You have a good name, old man. Karma House. If there is a cause, then there will be an effect. Today you trapped me here as the cause. In the future you will receive your retribution. Ning Cheng looked at the Karma House and suddenly spoke with a smile. When did I trap you? You came in on your own. The phantom suddenly retorted. Ning Cheng gave a smile. I was looking for some magical weapon fragments on that battlefield. You brought me here for no reason at all. If it was not because of you, then what was the reason? Ning Cheng felt that when he spoke about karma, this phantom seemed to be particularly nervous. As such, he simply spoke again. Nonsense. You don't even care about high-grade true artifacts. Why would you care about some low-grade magical weapon fragments? Lying will only result in karma. The phantom retorted without hesitation. What do you know? Ning Cheng scolded the phantom in disdain, while simultaneously taking out his profound break spear. You take a look at the magical weapon I am using. It is a medium-grade spiritual artifact. That's right, the spear is also cracked a little. I only have the cultivation of profound core first level. Yet you take out a magical weapon that I can't use and show it to me. If it is not garbage, then what is it? What kind of logic was this? The phantom was completely speechless, and only retorted after a good while. Even if you can't use it, you can still use it in the future. Besides, how many spiritual artifacts can a true artifact be exchanged for? Ning Cheng spoke in a very contemptuous tone. Are you sure that I will be able to use it in the future? What if my cultivation stagnates? What if I can use it in the future better than this? The phantom felt that its body seemed to be dissipating, and quickly retracted back into the cauldron. He did not want to argue with Ning Cheng, and directly spoke. You have a friend here. You can ask me for a favor. Let me let go of your friend. Ning Cheng held the talisman in his hands. As such, he was not afraid of this phantom. He spoke with disdain. You want me to save my friend? Don't think too highly of yourself. I can shatter your icicles with a single spear strike. What can you do to me? If you could, you would have done it long ago, you old fart. Although he said that, but Ningcheng was still very afraid in his heart. What did you call me? The phantom's angry voice resounded. You are just a lump of air. I guess that you have lived for countless years in vain. If you are not an old fart, then what are you? Ningcheng smiled. Although he was afraid of this phantom, he did not believe that this phantom had the ability to make a move. If he had the ability to make a move, he probably wouldn't have been able to endure such mockery. At this time, Ningcheng suddenly heard a catcha sound. Immediately, he saw an illusory figure emerge from one of the ice pillars. This illusory figure fell directly into the cauldron. After the illusory figure disappeared, the cultivator in the ice pillar disappeared at a speed visible to the naked eye. Old fart, so you rely on devouring souls to strengthen yourself. Do you still have any face? Ningcheng cursed. He had thought that Liang Kursen was only frozen in the ice pillar. But now it seems that if he did not save her, then perhaps Liang Kursen would also be frozen into nothingness. The phantom spoke with disdain. Don't think that I would not dare to make a move on you. The people here owe me karma. As such, they would use their souls to pay me back. This is karma. If you dare to offend me, then even if I have to bear the karma of an ant cultivator like you, I will still kill you. Oh, then your life is finished. Since you are a cultivator and pay attention to karma, do you know my origin? If you kill me, can you bear this huge karma? You have this kind of huge karma on your body. The sooner you die, the sooner it ends. Then why would you still want to cultivate the Tao? Ningcheng spoke nonsense, but at the same time he came to understand. The cultivators who came here took the things of this phantom. It was equivalent to sowing the karma, but the karma was just too big. It would have to use their own souls to pay for it. What Ningcheng did not notice was that the words that he had just spoken caused the phantom to shake once again. Moreover, the shadow that had just solidified a bit, once again started to dissipate a bit. Whether I can cultivate or not, you will not be able to see it. Do you think that I have no way to leave the cauldron, so you can't do anything to me? Let me tell you the truth. This hall is filled with my power. The phantom gave a cold snort and spoke. Your power? It is by relying on this karma. As Ningcheng spoke until here, his heart suddenly moved. He remembered that when he had just come in, there seemed to be a kind of power similar to the power of hope. Was this the power of karma? If the power of hope could become a power, then who could be sure that karma could not become a power? I finally understand, old fogey. I'm afraid that you are relying on this power of karma, right? Would I be afraid of your power of karma? To tell you the truth, I can destroy it with just a lift of my hand. Ningcheng immediately spoke out. Regardless of whether it was right or wrong, he had to first deceive this old fogey. Who the hell are you? The phantom once again trembled. He quickly fell into the cauldron, leaving only a part of him outside. From his trembling tone, one could tell that he was extremely afraid of Ningcheng. In this broken Yixing mainland, no one knew about the power of karma, yet this person actually knew about it. This person was definitely not a cultivator from the Yixing mainland. Was he the same as him, someone who was hiding from the great calamity of the past, and was hiding in this unknown corner of the world? Thinking that Ningcheng might be such a powerhouse, the phantom waved his hand, and the ice house that Ningcheng could see disappeared in an instant. As for the cultivators frozen in the ice house, they also could not see Ningcheng anymore. Ningcheng could feel the fear of this phantom, causing him to increasingly feel that this old fogey must have come from a very distant place. However, he was very worried about Liang Kursen and Sun Hanrui. As such, he had to hurry up and rescue the two of them. There was also that Xian Hai. He was also a good person, and could also be saved. Thinking until here, Ningcheng suddenly shook the profound break spear in his hands and spoke. Who is this young master? Let me show you this move, then you will know who this young master is. The profound break spear drew an indescribable arc, before suddenly thrusting out. A berserk spear intent, which caused the entire hall to suddenly lose its color, erupted out. A kind of fierce killing intent seemed as if it would blow up the entire hall in an instant. Not to mention the hall, even if it was a planet, in the face of this kind of berserk killing intent, it would also turn into nothingness. The phantom suddenly trembled, and in the blink of an eye, that slightly solid shadow turned even more faint. You must be him, it must be him. The phantom's voice trembled just like his body. If he had teeth, then Ning Cheng would definitely be able to hear the sound of the phantom's teeth clattering against each other. Less nonsense with this young master. This young master cannot remember a lot of things. If I could remember, then I would have already pulled out your thin skin. Ning Cheng was also secretly shocked in his heart. Who was the powerhouse that had unleashed this spear? He had only managed to obtain 1/1000th of this spear, yet this old man was already scared witless. Seeing that the phantom was still in a state of panic, Ning Cheng suddenly gave a cold snort and spoke. Hurry up and bring out the ice house, let me save people. Otherwise, haha. This time the phantom did not even speak any nonsense. As the ice house once again appeared, Ning Cheng immediately saw the incomparably nervous Liang Kersen inside the icicle. But Liang Kersen was currently shivering from the cold, as if her soul would leave her body at any moment. Ning Cheng walked into the ice house and shot his spear at the icicle that froze Liang Kersen. Catcha, a sound emerged, as the icicle that Liang Kersen was in instantly shattered into pieces. Liang Kersen also collapsed to the ground, as she spat out a mouthful of black blood. Ning Cheng took out a pill and handed it to Liang Kersen and spoke. Junior apprentice Sister Kersen, you heal yourself first, I will save junior apprentice Sister Han Rui. Saying that, Ning Cheng once again shot his spear at the icicle that froze Sun Han Rui. Sun Han Rui's strength was much stronger than Liang Kersen. As such, after coming out, she still cupped her fists towards Ning Cheng and thanked him. Many thanks senior apprentice brother Ning for the life-saving grace. Seeing many longing eyes, Ning Cheng directly walked towards the icicle that was Xian high, and also shot out a spear. Senior apprentice brother Ning, I want to save the rest of the senior apprentice brothers and senior apprentice sisters. Sun Han Rui saw the longing in the eyes of the rest of the people from the icicle, and asked in a low voice. Ning Cheng saw the longing in the eyes of the many people, and suddenly spoke up. Old fart, open up all these icicles, all of them are my friends. After saying those words, Ning Cheng immediately remembered the things that he had encountered in the law's way. At that time, he had also saved a lot of people, but in the end most of them ended up biting the hand that fed them. Hey wait! Ning Cheng suddenly saw Fu Shengnan and Wen Han. Even if he wanted to save someone, he could not save these two people. Catcha! Catcha! Sounds of ice breaking emerged. Ning Cheng's words were obviously a bit too late, as all the ice cubes had already been broken. Many of the cultivators were given a new life, and there were even a few cultivators who were so excited that they started crying. If there is nothing else, then I will be leaving. The flickering shadow cowered in front of the huge cauldron, revealing a vague head. Ning Cheng was secretly annoyed that this flickering shadow had broken the ice cubes too quickly. Even Fu Shengnan and Wen Han, this kind of trash, were also saved. As such, he immediately spoke up in a bad mood. Leave? Why do you want to leave? I have gone through untold hardships to come here, and other than saving people, I have not obtained even the slightest bit of benefit, so why are you leaving? Best quality true artifacts and high-grade true artifacts are just a few hundred of them, and those pills from before are also quite good. You can also give me some of them. The flickering shadow's voice almost sounded like it was about to cry, as it hurriedly spoke up. Those are just illusions of the power of karma, although they are the same as the real thing, but they are not real. Besides, you don't even like these things. Ning Cheng just gave a snort, as he casually picked up his own 9-colored mirage stone, and spoke. If I don't like it, then why can't I just give it to someone else? You brought me here. It is equivalent to sowing the karma, but now you do not have the karma to give to me. As such, you can do as you see fit. Speaking till here, Ning Cheng suddenly thought of something, as he hurriedly sent out a sound transmission. You can leave now, wait for me to get some good things, then bury those things in. Just bury them deep underground. I will come back to get them in the future. As long as you can get some good things and bury them here, then I will consider it as you settling the karma between us. Ning Cheng thought that if this flickering shadow gave him some good things, and the cultivators in this place came to know about it, then wouldn't it be terrible? Although he did not believe that this old fart did not have any good things, but he also did not dare to excessively force this flickering shadow. In case he provoked the opposite party to the point of recklessness, then it would not be good for him. Chapter 278. Ning Cheng's sound transmission had just fallen, when all the cultivators in the main hall felt a burst of emptiness, and then everyone fell down like dumplings. The ice house was gone, the huge cauldron and the magnificent main hall were also gone. The surroundings were still desolate, there were potholes everywhere, and there were broken pieces of magical weapons everywhere. But everyone was clear that they had finally come out of that terrible ice house. Some of the cultivators were so excited that they knelt on the ground. Many of them were very clear that if they had stayed for a few more days, then they would not have been able to come out. Many of the cultivators came forward to thank Ning Cheng. Some of them even wanted to take out spirit stones and pills to give to Ning Cheng. However, thinking of Ning Cheng washing his hands with the spiritual enhancement True Nectar, as well as the 9-colored Mirage Stone, they forcibly resisted the idea. Sun Hanrui suddenly sent a sound transmission to Ning Cheng. Senior apprentice brother Ning, everyone saw you washing your hands with the spiritual enhancement True Nectar. You have to pay attention to it. Ning Cheng was surprised in his heart. He obviously did not see anyone else. The spiritual enhancement True Nectar was of no importance to that old fogey, but it was not an insignificant matter to other cultivators. Thinking of this, Ning Cheng felt that he had let that old fogey off too easily. That old fogey actually broadcasted him. That son of a bitch. Elder brother Ning, many thanks for your life-saving grace. I am a disciple of the Heavenly Tao Academy, Li Lingfan. In the future when Elder brother Ning comes to my Heavenly Tao Academy, this Li Lingfan will definitely welcome you. A young man at the Great Circle of the Soul Essence Realm came in front of Ning Cheng and cupped his fists in thanks, showing a very grateful expression. Previously, when they were still in the ice house, Sun Hanrui had whispered to Ning Cheng. He should have heard it, and thus called him Elder Brother Ning. Liang Kursen knew that Ning Cheng did not know much about these academies, and quickly sent a sound transmission to Ning Cheng. The Heavenly Tao Academy is one of the top 10 academies in the Tian continent, and is even ranked above the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. Ning Cheng quickly cupped his fists and politely spoke. I was lucky to save senior apprentice Brother Li. Maybe one day I will really go to the Heavenly Tao Academy to disturb you. Haha, I Kong Cheng did not expect to be saved by a profound core cultivator. Many thanks, Elder Brother Ning. Although your cultivation is lower than mine, but you still saved my life, Kong Cheng's life. From now on, you will be my friend. A rough-looking man walked over in a few steps and cupped his fists towards Ning Cheng to thank him. Xian Hai quickly stepped forward and spoke. Elder Brother Ning, Senior Apprentice Brother Kong Cheng is a true inheriting disciple of my star-gathering mansion. This time you not only saved Senior Apprentice Brother Kong Cheng but also saved me. I really have to thank you. I even said that I would help you. I really overestimated myself. After Ning Cheng and Kong Cheng exchanged a few polite words, he patted Xian Hai's shoulder and spoke. Elder Brother Xian, you don't have to be so polite. Before you really wanted to help me, I know it in my heart. It was just a coincidence that I saved you. Senior Apprentice Brother Ning, the Floating Snow Palace's Zhong Yinyan thanks you for saving my life. In the future, if Brother Ning has the time to visit the Floating Snow Palace, Yinyan will definitely treat you as a distinguished guest. Another grateful voice sounded. This time, it was a shy and beautiful young female cultivator with a cultivation of Essence Soul Realm 6th level. Liang Kursen's voice arrived just in time. Senior Apprentice Brother Ning, the Floating Snow Palace is also one of the top 10 academies of the Tian continent. Ning Cheng quickly returned the courtesy. He felt that saving these people was not without any benefits. Regardless of whether the gratitude was sincere or not, at least he could make more friends. For a time, more and more cultivators came to thank Ning Cheng. At this time, 7 or 8 shadows quickly landed on the periphery of the crowd. Why did you all suddenly appear? What the hell happened here? The one who spoke was an old man with a red face. Ning Cheng took a look at this old man, and immediately knew that he was a crucible transformation cultivator. At the same time, Ningqing also saw the 5 cultivators that he had met before. They had the same puzzled look on their faces, but at the same time, they were also a bit surprised. Although because of the sudden appearance of this ancient immortal cave, more than 1,000 cultivators from various places had perished, but more than half of the elites from the major academies who had come here to complete the mission were still alive. Li Lingfan, who was the first to come forward to thank Ningqing, was the first to stand up, as he bowed and spoke, replying to Elder Yong, that ancient immortal cave is a magical weapon belonging to a life essence. That life essence placed this magical weapon here in order to capture the souls of cultivators below the soul essence realm and devour them, in order to restore his cultivation. Fortunately, this time Rainbow Fall Sword Sect's junior apprentice brother Ning saved all of us, and scared away that life essence. Li Lingfan addressed Ningqing as elder brother Ning. While addressing him as junior apprentice brother Ning in front of this old man was not contradictory. He addressed Ningqing as brother Ning to thank Ningqing for his life-saving grace. It was an honorific title. The reason why he addressed Ningqing as junior apprentice brother Ning was because Ningqing's cultivation was lower than his, and he and Ningqing were not from the same academy. The several old men on hearing Li Lingfan's words originally had a lot of questions to ask, but when they heard the last sentence, all of them immediately focused their gazes on Ningqing. Did you save all the cultivators here? The several crucible transformation elders stared at Ningqing and asked in unison. Ningqing knew that he had to find a reason for this matter. Now that several crucible transformation elders were asking him at the same time, he did not dare to show even half a shred of neglect. As he quickly stepped forward and bowed before speaking. Yes, it is because this immortal cave was left behind by an ancient life essence. This life essence is nourishing itself inside a huge cauldron. As senior apprentice brotherly said a moment ago, this life essence is still far from recovering. As such, it can only devour the souls of us cultivators with lower cultivations to nourish itself. Even if that is the case, this life essence can easily devour the souls of all of you. So how were you able to save everyone? This time it was the beautiful woman from the star-gathering mansion, who stared at Ningqing and asked a question. Ningqing quickly spoke about the things inside the immortal cave, including the ice house, as well as the virtual magical weapons and pills, as well as the karma house and so on. So to say that life essence was forced by karma, as such it wanted the cultivators who went in to take the magical weapons first, before starting? Another crucible transformation cultivator asked. This crucible transformation cultivator's complexion was a bit pale, as if he was a sick man. As such, the tone of his question made Ningqing feel uncomfortable. I guess that is the case, but I am not very clear about the specifics. Ningqing replied cautiously. This sickly-looking crucible transformation cultivator still stared at Ningqing and asked. The other cultivators fell into its trap. Why did you not fall into its trap? Why did you force the life essence to retreat? Because I have a 9-colored mirage stone. As such, I did not fall into its trap. As for why the life essence retreated, I guess that it was not able to obtain karma from me. Ningqing was very dissatisfied with the tone of the other party's question. Although he answered the other party's question, but he still felt uncomfortable in his heart. He was the one who saved those people. How could he treat his benefactor with such an attitude? This sickly-looking man sneered. Does a 9-colored mirage stone also have such an effect? How come I did not know about it? This time Ningqing simply did not bother to answer. Who did this guy think he was, to act as if he was some kind of criminal, making him look like a criminal? Tell me in detail about the process of using the mirage stone. Are there any other secrets that you have not spoken out? This sickly-looking crucible transformation cultivator was obviously not satisfied with Ningqing's answer, causing his tone to turn even more severe. Ningqing's temper flared up, as he immediately sneered. Who are you? Why are you trying to control my head? I am from the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect. The cultivators here were all saved by me. I do not expect some white-eyed wolf to thank me. What method I used to not be disturbed, it is none of your business. If I don't want to say it, then what can you do about it? He did not know which academy this sickly-looking man belonged to, but he was sure that among the people he saved, there was at least one disciple from this academy. Not only did this person not thank him, but even relying on his high cultivation, he even used an interrogative tone to question him. Want to ask him about his secrets? Don't even dream about it. Little bastard, you are courting death. The sickly-looking man's entire body was overflowing with murderous intent, as he raised his hand towards Ningcheng to grab him. At this moment, Ningcheng immediately felt that the surroundings had been sealed up. He could not even move a single muscle. Ningcheng was secretly shocked in his heart. What a powerful cultivation. Bang! At the same time, another hand stretched out, blocking the sickly-looking man's hand that was about to grab Ningcheng. The surging true essence immediately blasted a huge crater in the distance. Since when did my Rainbow Fall Sword sect's disciples need to be taught a lesson by the Red Star Sword faction? Could it be that your Red Star Sword faction has already unified the entire Tian continent? A disdainful voice arrived. Ningcheng knew that his guess was not wrong. It was the Rainbow Fall Sword sect's Elder Bei. Such a disrespectful, profound, core little bastard. Is it not enough for me to teach him a lesson? Bei Youfa, aren't you a bit too protective? The sickly-looking man still felt indignant. Ningcheng sneered. Old bastard, you better stop pretending in front of this young master. Don't take yourself seriously. I do not know what kind of academy the Red Star Sword faction is, but for such an ungrateful trash like you, I can also imagine it. Not to mention that I, your grandfather, do not have any secrets. Even if I did have secrets, what does it have to do with an old bastard like you? Why don't you tell me about your secrets? Idiot, you have lived your entire life like a dog. Although the sickly-looking man's cultivation and strength were many times stronger than Ningcheng's, but when it came to scolding and debating, even if he was multiplied by 1,000, he still would not be Ningcheng's opponent. Being scolded by Ningcheng in such a manner, he suddenly trembled with anger, while his face turned even paler. However, he also knew that with Bei Youfa here, he would not be able to do anything to Ningcheng. Bei Youfa was secretly happy in his heart, but on the surface he calmly spoke to Ningcheng. Ningcheng, although there are some people who deserve to be scolded, but your cultivation is still too low. As such, you have to pay attention to etiquette. In the future, if you have the opportunity, you must go to the Red Star Sword faction and explain everything clearly. Yes, I understand. How could Ningcheng not know when to stop? The reason why he scolded people was not only to vent his anger, but also to block the mouths of the other Crucible Transformation cultivators, so that these Crucible Transformation cultivators would not be able to interrogate him one by one. Once he returned to the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, with this reward, he would be able to go to the small spiritual domain to cultivate. As for what happened outside, it was none of his business. Fellow Taoists, please be the judge. A puny profound core ant unexpectedly has no manners. This sickly-looking man from the Red Star Sword faction was obviously unable to calm down his anger. Well, let's not talk too much. Besides, the Rainbow Fall Sword sect's Ningcheng has put in a lot of effort this time, saving so many of our academy's elite disciples. We should not treat him like a criminal and interrogate him. A slightly thinner cultivator came forward and spoke. The rest of the Crucible Transformation cultivators also spoke a few words in support of Ningcheng. Ningcheng had saved so many of their elite disciples, so which of the elders here would not be happy about it? These elders really were the same as what Ningcheng had guessed. No one continued to ask Ningcheng why he was able to resist the temptation, and one after another invited Ningcheng to their academy as a guest. Whether it was an invitation with good intentions, or an invitation with bad intentions, Ningcheng declined them one by one. His strength was already quite poor, but now that he had the contribution points, it was time for him to cultivate. How could he go to other academies and waste his time, and even find himself in danger? Chapter 279. Although the major sects did not obtain any benefits, the matter of the ancient immortal cave was finally resolved. Moreover, the elite disciples of the sects did not die. At the same time, he also learned that there was indeed such an ancient cave dwelling. However, this ancient cave dwelling had an owner. Not everyone could casually take it away. Ning Cheng and the other disciples of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect followed the Crucible Transformation Elder Bei Youfa back to the academy. This time the number of Soul Essence disciples from the Rainbow Fall Sword sect that had fallen were not many. However, the disciples below the Soul Essence realm were only Liang Kursen and Fengjin. Junior apprentice brother Ning, we did not have the opportunity to thank you before, so this time we specifically came here to thank you. If it wasn't for you, none of us true disciples and core disciples would have been able to return. While Ning Cheng and Liang Kursen were chatting, Ke Hongshui and Luo Xian, along with a group of disciples, specifically came to thank Ning Cheng. We're all from the same sect. It's just a small matter. It's not worth mentioning. Ning Cheng quickly spoke up in a polite manner. He still needed to cultivate in the Rainbow Fall Sword sect for a long time. As such, he would certainly not mind making a few more friends. Luo Xian gave a sweet smile and spoke. It might be a trivial matter for you, but it is not a trivial matter for us. In any case, in the future, if you need any help from me in the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, you can always come to the Flying Swallow Sword Peak to find me. Saying that, Luo Xian once again took out a jade card and handed it to Ning Cheng and spoke. I heard from junior apprentice Sister Hanrui that you want to go to the small spiritual domain to cultivate the most. I also have a cultivation jade card for a month. I will give it to you. Ning Cheng had only spoken a perfunctory and polite sentence, but now that Luo Xian took out the cultivation jade card for the small spiritual domain, he immediately became pleasantly surprised, as he quickly took the jade card and spoke. Many thanks, senior apprentice Sister Xian. I really do lack this kind of jade card. It won't do if my cultivation is too low. He didn't think that he shouldn't take this jade pendant. It wasn't too much to ask for a jade pendant for saving his life. When Ke Hongshui saw this, he also quickly took out a small spiritual domain's cultivation jade card and handed it to Ning Cheng and spoke. I see that you have a lot of good things and do not know what to give to thank you. I didn't expect you to like jade pendants. I also have one for a month. Me too. In just a short period of time, Ning Cheng unexpectedly managed to collect 4 cultivation jade cards for the small spiritual domain, although they were all for a month's time, but adding up to a total of 4 months' time. Ning Cheng was overjoyed in his heart. He had not even gone to receive the rewards from the academy, and had already obtained 4 jade cards. Once he went to receive the rewards, it would absolutely be a bumper harvest. Because he had the jade card to communicate with them, Ning Cheng had a very good impression of these senior apprentice brothers and senior apprentice sisters whom he had saved. At least these people were not like the people he had met in the Law's Way. Now that they had a common language, the more they chatted, the happier they became. At the same time, Ning Cheng also chatted with these people from the same sect, and learned more information about the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. Cultivating in the small spiritual domain did not mean that the deeper one went the better it would be, but rather one had to find a suitable place for oneself. These places were similar to the blue stone that Ning Cheng had chosen before. There were a variety of stones in the small spiritual domain. Once one found a stone that was the most suitable for them to absorb the spiritual qi, then it would truly be a great harvest for them. However, the cultivation jade cards in the small spiritual domain were very precious. As such, only a few people would spend a lot of time looking for this kind of stone. This was because even if one were to sit down and cultivate in a random place, it would be countless times faster than outside. What was even more important was that cultivating in the small spiritual domain was not an endless process. The spiritual qi in the small spiritual domain was too heavy on the yang qi. Once one cultivated to a certain extent, one would have to stop cultivating. Otherwise the yang qi would incinerate one's body and cause one to perish. Hearing this news, Ning Cheng immediately asked in amazement, "But I went in to cultivate for 3 months, how come nothing happened to me?" Ke Hongshui smiled and spoke, "You have to cultivate to a certain extent. You are just a profound core cultivator. You would not be able to feel it. Even we would not be able to feel it. Only after reaching the soul sculpting realm would we be able to clearly feel it." Ning Cheng finally understood. No wonder he did not see any powerful characters cultivating in the small spiritual domain. It turned out that there was such a side effect. Is there any solution? Ning Cheng quickly asked. The reason why he joined the Rainbow Fall Sword sect was for the small spiritual domain. Now that he could not cultivate in the small spiritual domain, wouldn't it be akin to losing his life? It is not that there is no solution. You can find a Tao companion for dual cultivation, to harmonize the yin and yang of each other. You can also find some extremely yin-type spiritual medicines. But these are not the best solutions, and the effects are also limited. Ke Hongshui explained in a very detailed manner. Luo Zian suddenly interjected. The best way is to go to the Floating Snow Palace's refining snow and ice domain. If you can cultivate in the small spiritual domain for a period of time, and then go to the refining snow and ice domain to cultivate for a period of time, not only would there not be any problems, but it would also allow your cultivation to progress even more. Unfortunately, the refining snow and ice domain is the domain of the Floating Snow Palace. As such, outsiders are not able to enter. At this time, inside the airship's main cabin, Bei Youfa was leisurely sipping tea, when a voice suddenly arrived from outside the restriction. Disciple Wen Han requests an audience with Elder Bei. Come in. Bei Youfa waved his hand and removed the restriction on the door. What do you want? Bei Youfa looked at Wen Han coming in and asked in a puzzled manner. Wen Han quickly gave a respectful bow, and then cautiously spoke. Elder Bei, Ningqing definitely has a big secret on him. He can even use the spiritual enhancement True Nectar to wash his hands. Moreover, the 9-colored mirage stones are just like garbage in his eyes. The most important thing is that he was not even the slightest bit affected by the ancient immortal cave, and was not even affected by the countless magical weapons. What do you want to say? Elder Bei put down the cup in his hands, as he looked at Wen Han and lightly asked. Wen Han clenched his teeth and spoke. I think that junior apprentice Brother Ning has made a great contribution this time, and should be rewarded by the academy. However, junior apprentice Brother Ning should also report his own secrets to the academy in detail, so as to repay the academy's kindness in nurturing him. Elder Bei stared at Wen Han sarcastically and spoke. I heard that Ningqing had only joined the academy for a total of 3 months. Where did this kindness in nurturing him come from? Besides, my Rainbow Fall Sword sect advocates that the disciples have their own secrets. Not to say about Ningqing, even my Rainbow Fall Sword sect's true inheriting disciples, core disciples and even the elders, how many of them do not have their own secrets? Wen Han, if I asked you to hand over your secrets to the academy, what would you do? Do not learn from that Red Star Sword faction's Tangongshi. As a person, you must learn to be grateful. Only then can you climb to a higher peak. You have good qualifications, do not ruin yourself. Well, you can go now. Wen Han's face alternated between blue and red, as he respectfully spoke. Yes, this junior understands. Saying that, he carefully retreated. Elder Bei shook his head and gave out a sigh. He could see that Wen Han was not very fond of Ningqing. It was obvious that Wen Han would definitely not give up. In the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, with the disputes between the disciples, he could only take a roundabout approach, and could not directly intervene. If one had to say who was in the limelight in the Rainbow Fall Sword sect recently, then it would definitely be Ningqing without a doubt. Ningqing, as a cultivator who had just entered the sect a few months ago, dared to take on the incomparably dangerous 17th Academy mission. Not only that, this cultivator who had just entered the inner sect also successfully completed the mission, saving more than a dozen academies and more than 100 elite disciples. For a time, his grace spread across half of the Tian continent, causing his reputation to soar. At this moment, every corner of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect was filled with legends about Ningqing. Did you know senior apprentice Brother Ningqing broke into the ancient immortal mansion by himself, and saved more than 100 elite disciples from the major academies? Elder Bei personally brought senior apprentice Brother Ning to receive the academy's reward. Even Deputy Academy Head Tantai came out to meet Ningqing. Of course I know about this matter. Moreover, the major academies are very grateful to senior apprentice Brother Ningqing. I heard that he is about to become a true inheriting disciple. Senior apprentice Brother Ning is originally a soul essence cultivator. It's just that he suppressed his cultivation. As such, becoming a true inheriting disciple is also a matter of course. No, I heard that senior apprentice Brother Ningqing is a rogue cultivator in the soul sculpting realm. In that ancient immortal mansion, he suddenly unlocked the seal on his cultivation, and even killed the evil cultivators who were locking the disciples. What cultivators above the soul essence realm simply cannot enter that ancient immortal mansion? Don't talk nonsense. That Ning Cheng is just a profound core first-level cultivator. It was only because he was able to resist the temptation of the immortal mansion. I want to tell you some real news. The Severing Emotions Dao sect and the Floating Snow Palace have both come to my Rainbow Fall Sword sect to discuss marriage. They want to marry off their outstanding true inheriting disciples to Ning Cheng. I heard that. You are talking nonsense according to what you said. Ning Cheng is only at the profound core first level, while the outstanding true inheriting disciples of the Severing Emotions Dao sect and the Floating Snow Palace are at least at the late stages of the soul essence realm. Would they take the initiative to come to propose marriage? Hehe, do you know how rich Ning Cheng is? He has the thing that the Severing Emotions Dao sect and the Floating Snow Palace need the most. Forget it. Even if I told you, you would not understand. This cultivator just gave a smile, turned around and no longer participated in the discussion, and soon left the place. Ning Cheng, who was being enthusiastically discussed by the people, at this time once again arrived at the small spiritual domain. Elder Bei was very good to Ning Cheng. Not only did he personally bring Ning Cheng to receive the Academy's reward, when he knew that Ning Cheng needed the cultivation jade card for the small spiritual domain, he even took the initiative to give Ning Cheng 3 months' worth of cultivation jade cards. Ning Cheng returned the favor, and also sent 3 bottles of spiritual enhancement true nectar to Elder Bei. Although the spiritual enhancement true nectar had been exposed, Ning Cheng still felt that he could not send too much at once. At this time, even if Ning Cheng did not use the 1,000,000 contribution points, he would still have 19 months of cultivation time in the small spiritual domain. Although the Rainbow Fall Sword sect did not obtain any benefits from the Great Liang True Country's Academy assignment, but the Rainbow Fall Sword sect still showed its imposing manner without a doubt. Not only did they reward Ning Cheng, but all the cultivators who went were also rewarded with a month's worth of cultivation time in the small spiritual domain. Liang Kersen also received a month's worth of cultivation time. Even if Liang Kersen repeatedly said that a month's worth of time was more than enough, Ning Cheng still returned the jade card that he owed Liang Kersen to her. With 18 months of cultivation time, Ning Cheng was not in a hurry to cultivate inside the small spiritual domain. He wanted to look for a place with the most abundant spiritual qi. After wasting 4 days of time, Ning Cheng finally chose a piece of white stone. After choosing a place to cultivate, Ning Cheng once again leisurely arranged a variety of array formations. He decided to cultivate in this place until he reached the great circle of the profound core realm before going out. If not for the fact that he could not cross the tribulation inside the small spiritual domain, he had intended to use up the entire 18 months of time. Chapter 280. In the Rainbow Fall Sword sect's welcoming hall, an old man was accompanying a beautiful woman in conversation. In addition to this old man, there was also a middle-aged Confucian scholar accompanying them. Junior apprentice Brother Bei, you and Ning Cheng are a bit more familiar. Why don't you explain it to Palace Master Sang? The old man sitting on the main seat looked at the middle-aged Confucian scholar and spoke with a smile. This old man was one of the 3 deputy sect masters of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, Tantai Fei. But the Palace Master Sang he spoke about was actually the Floating Snow Palace's 7th Palace Master Sang Jieju. The middle-aged Confucian scholar was obviously the Rainbow Fall Sword sect's Elder Bei Yofa, who was very optimistic about Ning Cheng. Elder Bei hesitated for a moment before asking, Palace Master Sang, although Ning Cheng was lucky enough to do something this time, but his cultivation is just too low, only at profound core first level. Floating Snow Palace's core disciples are already at the soul essence realm. As for the true inheriting disciples, their cultivation is even higher. Moreover, the female disciples of the Floating Snow Palace are all fairies from the mortal world. How could they even take a fancy to a puny inner sect disciple of my Rainbow Fall Sword sect? Moreover, why would Palace Master Sang personally come to my Rainbow Fall Sword sect? Sang Jieju gave a faint smile and spoke. Ning Cheng has great potential, although he only has the cultivation of profound core first level. I believe that with his ability, He would soon be groomed by the academy. The Rainbow Fall Sword Sect's small spiritual domain is famous throughout the world. For Ningcheng to advance to the Soul Essence realm, it would not take much time. The Rainbow Fall Sword Sect's deputy sect master Tantai Fei on hearing this gave a wry smile and spoke. In the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect, to use the small spiritual domain, even if one's background is great, one would still need to make contributions to the academy. Besides, the small spiritual domain is not omnipotent. Sang Jieju did not care about it, and still spoke with a smile. After the Floating Snow Palace's true inheriting disciple Zhong Yanyan went back and spoke about Ningcheng's matter, many of the Floating Snow Palace's female disciples were very appreciative of him. With Ningcheng's bright future, perhaps he would soon become a true inheriting disciple. My Floating Snow Palace naturally would not mistreat him. Yin Kongchan is one of the most outstanding disciples of my Floating Snow Palace. I believe that with her appearance and qualifications, she would barely be able to match Ningcheng. Yin Kongchan? Palace Master sang. Are you talking about Yin Kongchan who obtained the 9th place in the Great Meet of the 10 Major Academy's Soul Essence disciples a few years ago? Bei Youfa asked in disbelief. Yin Kongchan already had the cultivation of the Great Circle of the Soul Essence realm a few years ago. As such, she might even be a cultivator in the soul sculpting realm by now. Moreover, Yin Kongchan's appearance was definitely not inferior to the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect's Luo Xian. This kind of outstanding disciple with a limitless future. How could she just barely be worthy of Ningcheng? Ningcheng was simply not worthy of such a person. But why would the Floating Snow Palace give such an outstanding disciple to Ningcheng? And through a marriage between the two sects? That's right. A few years ago, in the Great Meet of the Soul Essence disciples of the 10 Major Academies, Kongchan indeed won the 9th place. Sang Jieju spoke in a casual manner. Bei Youfa and the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect's deputy sect master glanced at each other. Before he turned to Sang Jieju and spoke, Palace Master sang. Ningcheng immediately went into seclusion in the small spiritual domain to cultivate after coming back. As such, we are unable to make a decision on our own. We will need him to come out of seclusion before we can answer you. Of course, since it is related to martial nephew Ningcheng's matter, then of course he would need to personally agree to it. Sang Jieju replied in a very considerate manner. After saying that, she was just about to ask Ningcheng when he would come out of seclusion, when Tantai Fei suddenly spoke up. What kind of good day is it today, for the elders of the Severing Emotions Dao sect to also come to my Rainbow Fall Sword sect? Tantai Fei stood up and spoke to Sang Jieju in an apologetic manner. Palace Master sang, I'll go pick up the elders. Sang Jieju did not care about it at all, and spoke with a smile. Maybe I know the reason for Senior Apprentice Sister Cheonghua's visit. Sect Master Tantai can directly go and greet her. I have not seen Senior Apprentice Sister Cheonghua for a long time. Why don't we invite Senior Apprentice Sister Cheonghua here to reminisce about the old days? Tantai Fei had no choice but to nod in agreement. He knew that although Sang Jieju's words were pleasant to hear, the fact was that the Floating Snow Palace and the Severing Emotions Dao sect had a very big enmity between them. In just a short time, Tantai Fei came in with a woman wearing a white robe. This woman had a cold face, wore a simple bun for female cultivators, and carried a long sword on her back. After this woman came in, she saw that Sang Jieju was also present, causing her to be slightly surprised for a moment. However, she immediately recovered and cupped her fists towards Bei Youfa and spoke. Severing Emotions Dao Sect's Grandmaster Cheonghua greets Senior Apprentice Brother Bei. Hee, Senior Apprentice Sister Cheonghua is getting more and more beautiful. Even I feel my heart beating endlessly. Although Shi Cheonghua did not take the initiative to greet Sang Jieju, but Sang Jieju took the initiative to greet Shi Cheonghua. What she said was not wrong, although Shi Cheonghua had a cold expression, but she was absolutely beautiful. Her appearance was delicate and refined, just like her name. It was comparable to jade. Just by standing there, it was as if she was wrapped in a light cloud, making people who saw her feel ashamed of their inferiority. I do not dare. Junior Apprentice Sister Sang is not necessarily ugly. Shi Cheonghua spoke in a flat tone, as if there was no taste in her words. Seeing that the two of them did not seem to agree with each other, Elder Bei quickly invited Shi Cheonghua to sit down. while simultaneously pouring a cup of high-quality spiritual tea for Shi Qianghua. After Shi Qianghua took a sip of the spiritual tea, Elder Bei politely asked, "For Elder Shi to grace the Rainbow Fall Sword sect with your presence, it is an honor for my Rainbow Fall Sword sect." Shi Qianghua still spoke in a flat tone. "I came here for a matter. I don't know if your noble academy's Ningqing is here?" As soon as Ningqing came back, he immediately went into seclusion in the small spiritual domain. It is estimated that he will not come out for a short period of time. Elder Bei quickly replied. He vaguely felt that the purpose of this Shi Qianghua and Sang Jieju might be similar. Sure enough, Shi Qianghua slightly frowned, before continuing. Ningqing's cultivation is indeed a bit low. Being able to go into seclusion for cultivation is also a good thing. Tantai Fei could not help but speak up. "Is it possible that Elder Shi knows Ningqing?" Shi Qianghua immediately spoke up. "I do not know Ningqing, but this time Ningqing saved my severing emotions Dao Sect's true inheriting disciples Su Yingde and Bumei. As such I specifically came here to thank him. I also asked Bumei, and found that Ningqing is a good disciple. Moreover, my disciple Yingde also has a good impression of Ningqing. As such I want to play the matchmaker between Ningqing and Yingde. If Elder Bei agrees, then our two academies can form a marriage alliance." Sang Jieju gave a smile and spoke. The Severing Emotions Dao sect actually started to talk about love. It really is a bit strange. Shi Qianghua frowned once again. Tantai Fei on seeing this quickly stopped in front of her and spoke. "On behalf of my academy's disciple Ningqing, I would like to thank the two of you for your love. But Ningqing is currently in seclusion. As such this matter would have to go through him personally. So be it. After Ningqing comes out of seclusion, I will let him personally go to the Floating Snow Palace and the Severing Emotions Dao sect to return the gift. In that case, then I will take my leave first." Shi Qianghua was incomparably straightforward. She came fast but left even faster. Seeing Shi Qianghua walk away, Sang Jieju also stood up and spoke to Elder Bei with a smile. "I will also take my leave, but I will be waiting for apprentice nephew Ningqing at the academy." Elder Bei quickly agreed. Seventh Palace Master can rest assured. After Ningqing comes out of seclusion, I will definitely let him go to the Floating Snow Palace. After sending off the Severing Emotions Dao sect's Shi Qianghua and the Floating Snow Palace's Sang Jieju, Rainbow Fall Sword sect's Elder Bei asked, "Senior Apprentice Brother Tantai, do you think the words spoken by Shi Qianghua and Sang Jieju are true? This matter is just too weird. Ningqing is just an inner sect disciple. Is it really necessary to carry out a marriage between two academies?" Tantai Fei sneered. "Fart true, there is not even half of it. If I have not guessed wrong, then these two academies are eyeing Ningqing's things." Bei Youfa also spoke out with indignation. Ningqing saved the life of their academy's disciple, yet they even schemed against Ningqing. They really cannot be a good person. "Senior Apprentice Brother Tantai, if Ningqing really agreed to it, then I really do not know how they would deal with it. Would they snatch Ningqing's things and then kill Ningqing? I think that the Severing Emotions Dao sect and the Floating Snow Palace would not be so despicable, right?" Tantai Fei shook his head and spoke. "That is not the case. These two academies are at least among the top 10 academies of the Tian continent. For the Severing Emotions Dao sect to want their disciples to become Dao companions with Ningqing, it is very easy to understand. If the Severing Emotions Dao sect wants to cultivate to the pinnacle, then they would have to fall in love, and then sever their emotions. To put it bluntly, Shi Qianghua is just here to find a puppet for the disciples under her sect. After the female disciples under her sect sever their emotions on Ningqing, Ningqing would then turn into a waste. Moreover, Ningqing not only has to send good things to others, but he would also have to act as a stepping stone for others. Since she found Ningqing, then it shows that the true inheriting disciple called Su Yingde already has an impression of Ningqing, and can even fall in love with Ningqing. Oh, I knew that it would be like this, but this matter, the other elders of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect might really agree to it. Elder Bei sighed. Tantai Fei also sighed. In fact, I would also agree to it. Although the Severing Emotions Dao sect's Shi Qianghua did not say it out loud, but I know that they would definitely give up the Spirit Stone mine that our Rainbow Fall Sword sect discovered together. Using a true inheriting disciple to sever her emotions, coupled with a 9-colored mirage stone, and also a certain amount of spiritual enhancement true nectar. The Severing Emotions Dao sect has already calculated this deal. They would definitely not suffer a loss. I will not agree to it. I have observed that Ningcheng has an upright character. Although he has some spiritual enhancement true nectar, and even a 9-colored mirage stone, but these are all the disciples' own opportunities. Unless the disciples themselves are willing to contribute to the academy cannot take the initiative to deprive them. Bei Youfa immediately spoke. Tan Taifei waved his hand. This is not something that we can control. If the headmaster and the rest of the elders agree to it, then even if we oppose it, it would not be of any use. However, the headmaster is an upright person, and should not agree to it. However, the Floating Snow Palace wanting to marry their true inheriting disciple In Kongchan to Ningcheng is somewhat beyond my expectations. If the Floating Snow Palace insists on marrying their disciple In Kongchan and Ningcheng as Dao companions, then they would have a much bigger advantage compared to the Severing Emotions Dao sect. You mean to say that the Floating Snow Palace will provide the soul refining snow and ice domain, and let our Rainbow Fall Sword sect share it? Bei Youfa asked. I'm afraid that's the case. They probably have their eyes on Ningcheng's 9-colored mirage stone and spiritual enhancement true nectar. It's just that I do not understand why they would choose Yin Kongchan. Tan Taifei nodded and replied. Bei Youfa gave a sigh. If that is the case, then there is no way for me to help Ningcheng. I can only hope that he would go into seclusion in the small spiritual domain for a period of time. I know a thing or two about the Floating Snow Palace's In Kongchan, but In Kongchan wholeheartedly pursues the Dao. Even if she and Ningcheng become Dao companions, I estimate that she would not really choose to dual cultivate with Ningcheng. This matter might not be what we are guessing. There might even be a deeper reason behind it. These two academies, even if they wanted to scheme for Ningcheng's Mirage Stone and spiritual enhancement true nectar, it is reasonable to say that they would not come up with such a rotten idea. They definitely have countless ways to make Ningcheng willingly take it out. Is there really another reason? Or is it something that our Rainbow Fall Sword sect does not know about? Tan Taifei muttered to himself. Chapter 281. Ningcheng, who was cultivating in the small spiritual domain, was completely unaware of this. At this time he was once again in the process of crazily absorbing the spiritual qi of the small spiritual domain. The golden core in his core lake circulated rapidly. As the golden core gradually grew bigger, the layer of faint gold on its surface became clearer. Perhaps only Ningcheng with his powerful meridians and cultivation method would be able to absorb the spiritual qi in such a crazy manner. If replaced by another cultivator, then even if they could absorb the spiritual qi in such a manner, they would definitely explode. Not to mention transforming the spirit qi into his own cultivation to strengthen his golden core. However, Ningcheng was not affected in the slightest. It seemed that no matter how much spiritual qi came to him, he could consume it all, and then transform this spiritual qi into his own true essence. From the profound core first level to the profound core second level, there were almost no waves, as Ningcheng immersed himself in this kind of crazy cultivation. As time passed by unconsciously, Junior Apprentice Sister Curson, congratulations on advancing to the Soul Essence realm and becoming a core disciple. I really did not expect that you would actually use only 7 months to advance from a profound congealing 9th level cultivator to a Soul Essence 1st level cultivator. I estimate that I will soon be left behind by you. On a peak that pierced through the clouds, Sun Hanrui spoke to Liang Curson in a joyful manner. This mountain peak was Liang Curson's new immortal cave after she advanced to the Soul Essence realm and became a core disciple. Liang Curson's face was also filled with happiness, but after listening to Sun Hanrui's congratulations, she shook her head and spoke. Senior Apprentice Sister Hanrui, I am well aware of my own situation. Do not look at me advancing from the profound congealing 9th level to the Soul Essence 1st level in just 7 months. However, this has already consumed many years of accumulation. Now that I am at the Essence Soul Realm 1st level to the Essence Soul Realm 2nd level, it will take a lot more time than this. Senior sister is already at the 3rd level of the soul essence realm. I will definitely not be able to catch up. Liang Kursen was very clear that rather than saying that she had cultivated to the soul essence realm, it would be better to say that she had recovered to the soul essence realm. So many years of preparation, coupled with the mirage stones and spiritual enhancement true nectar that Ning Cheng had given her, even the 2 months of cultivation in the small spiritual domain, were all for the sake of restoring her cultivation. After this accumulation was used up, her cultivation would be the same as others, and she would slowly accumulate it again. Senior apprentice Brother Ning has gone into seclusion in the small spiritual domain, and has not come out until now. I really don't know what his current cultivation is like. Sun Hanrui couldn't help but think that Ning Cheng and Liang Kursen had entered the Rainbow Fall Sword sect together. Since Sun Hanrui was already at the Soul Essence 1st level, then presumably Ning Cheng was not too far away from her. Liang Kursen smiled and spoke. Senior apprentice Brother Ning still has nearly 20 months of cultivation time. I estimate that it will be a long time before he comes out. Senior sister Hanrui, I want to go to the sect to accept some missions. What about you? Sun Hanrui quickly spoke up. I was just about to talk to you about this matter. The Tian continent's great meet of the academies is about to begin. Our Rainbow Fall Sword sect also wants to participate. Many of our disciples have already gone there. The disciples participating in this tournament are the elites of our academy. I want to go and have a look. If you want to go, then we can go together. The competition for the top 10 sects? Liang Kursen obviously did not know anything. When she heard about the Tian continent's great meet of the academies, she immediately understood. Sun Hanrui nodded. That's right, since many years ago when the Rainbow Fall Sword sect was squeezed out of the top 10 academies, it could only exist as a quasi-first-class academy, and was never able to squeeze into the ranks of the top 10 academies. This time my Rainbow Fall Sword sect has produced a lot of outstanding disciples. Perhaps we can compete for it once. This time even the academy head has gone there. Moreover, there are also a lot of people from the academy. Senior apprentice Sister Hanrui, are you not going to participate? Liang Kursen quickly asked. Sun Hanrui gave a wry smile and spoke. I only have the cultivation of Soul Essence 3rd level. Moreover, my strength is also very ordinary in the academy. How can I represent the academy to participate in this tournament? If we go and take a look at the other people's understanding of magical techniques, then it would definitely be of great benefit. Besides, the Tian continent's great meet of the academies is always very lively, with all kinds of heavenly materials and earthly treasures gathered together. Maybe we can even buy some good things there. Of course I want to go. Where is the great meet of the academies taking place? Liang Kursen quickly spoke up. In the Heavenly Dao Academy's Heavenly Dao Public Square, the Rainbow Fall Makeshift Market has a large airship that goes directly to the Heavenly Dao Public Square. Even if we take a flight-type magical weapon to get there, it would only take a few days. Sun Hanrui replied. Liang Kursen immediately spoke up. Of course I want to go. It's a pity that senior apprentice Brother Ning has not come out of seclusion. Otherwise, with his temperament, he would definitely be the first to go. Do you know senior apprentice Brother Ning very well? Sun Hanrui suddenly asked. Liang Kursen gave a wry smile and spoke. The fact is that I really do not know much about him. I have already told you about the process of getting to know him. It was only through a transaction. He is a very sentimental person, and would not let his friends suffer losses. I feel that he is very trustworthy. Do you think that a person like Ning Cheng already has a Dao companion? Sun Hanrui suddenly asked an irrelevant question. Liang Kursen was surprised for a moment. She had never thought about this. She had only regarded Ning Cheng as a friend, and really did not think about the matter of Ning Cheng having a Dao companion. Now that Sun Hanrui asked this question, she was stunned for a moment, before she immediately asked in doubt. Senior apprentice Sister Hanrui, do you have a favorable impression of Ning Cheng, and even want to become a Dao companion with him? Sun Hanrui's face immediately turned red, as she quickly explained. What are you thinking about? I just regard senior apprentice Brother Ning as a friend. The reason why I asked this question is because when senior apprentice Brother Ning was in seclusion, there were some academies that came to the Rainbow Fall Sword sect to propose marriage to him. Senior apprentice brother Ning only has the cultivation of profound core realm, who would deliberately come to propose marriage in the form of an academy. Even if they wanted to propose it, they would not go through the academy, right? Liang Kursen also had a look of disbelief on her face. Sun Hanrui's complexion returned to normal, but she still did not understand and spoke. That's right, the Severing Emotions Dao sect and the Floating Snow Palace are among the top 10 academies of the Tian continent. Even if senior apprentice brother Ning's performance in the ancient immortal mansion was quite good, it would not be enough for these two academies to marry off a true inheriting disciple, right? She still had a sentence that she did not say. Not to mention these two major academies, even an ordinary core disciple of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect would not choose Ning Cheng, not to mention a true inheriting disciple. The Severing Emotions Dao sect and the Floating Snow Palace? Liang Kursen repeated the sentence in shock, and then suddenly spoke. I understand. These two academies must have taken a fancy to the things on senior apprentice brother Ning. They really are shameless. Sun Hanrui shook her head and spoke. Not necessarily, even if Ning Cheng has many things on him. It would only be the Mirage Stones and the Spiritual Enhancement True Nectar. With the strength of these two academies, they would definitely be able to come and purchase them. There is simply no need for a marriage. There might be some other reason behind it. Liang Kursen suddenly giggled and spoke. Forget it, these things are already decided by senior apprentice brother Ning. Besides, the true inheriting disciples of the Severing Emotions Dao sect and the Floating Snow Palace are also quite good. They are just barely worthy of senior apprentice brother Ning. Liang Kursen's words. Even Sun Hanrui, who did not laugh loudly, could not help but laugh out loud. The Severing Emotions Dao sect and the Floating Snow Palace's true inheriting female disciples. How could they just barely be worthy of Ning Cheng? Ning Cheng was still in the small spiritual domain. After he stimulated his true essence to break through the barrier of the profound core 7th level, the crazily rotating golden core lake in his core lake suddenly burst into flames, as a horrifying pain crazily poured into Ning Cheng's consciousness. Poof! Ning Cheng directly spurted out a mouthful of hot blood. At this moment Ning Cheng felt his whole body weak. He even lost the strength to even truss a chicken. Moreover, he did not have the ability to extinguish the flames on his golden core. It was as if his golden core was not under his control. Not good. This was the result of the small spiritual domain absorbing too much spiritual qi, causing the yang qi to burn the body. Fortunately, Ning Cheng had heard a few of his senior apprentice brothers and senior apprentice sisters talk about it. As such, he knew that the yang qi burning the body came from the inside out. In the end, if it was light, then he would lose his cultivation. If it was heavy, then even his corporeal body would disappear. At this time, Ning Cheng did not dare to continue absorbing the spiritual qi in this place for cultivation. He did not even dare to mobilize the mysterious yellow origin. The mysterious yellow origin was a kind of pure yang qi. If he mobilized it, then it would simply be like pouring oil on a volcano. Seeing that the thin flames on his golden core were about to completely cover his golden core, Ning Cheng simply could not do anything about it. He could only barely stimulate the Star River Formation to absorb these flames. He did not know if the Star River Formation could absorb these flames, but he simply did not have a better way. What made Ning Cheng incomparably surprised was that after he mobilized the Star River Formation, a force immediately swept over, completely swallowing up the flames on Ning Cheng's golden core. The brightness of his golden core dimmed a bit. Ning Cheng's cultivation that had just advanced to the profound core 7th level once again fell to the golden core 6th level. Although his cultivation did not rise but instead fell, but Ning Cheng still felt relieved. How could he dare to continue cultivating in this place? Feeling his true essence slowly recovering, Ning Cheng was secretly afraid in his heart. He knew that there were limitations to cultivating in the small spiritual domain. Once the yang qi burning body occurred, then it would be difficult to reverse the situation. But from what he had heard about the yang qi burning body, most of it happened in the great circle of the soul essence realm, or even cultivators in the soul sculpting realm and above. Even soul essence cultivators rarely encountered such a situation. So why would his profound core 7th level yang qi burning body occur? Calculating the time, he found that he had only cultivated for a little more than 7 months. Not even 8 months. Originally, he had intended to cultivate until he reached the great circle of the profound core realm. But now it seemed that it was simply impossible. If he wanted to continue cultivating in this place, then he would have to find a way to curb the Yangqi burning body. Fortunately, he still had the Star River seed, otherwise, how would he be able to extinguish the spontaneous combustion of his golden core? There is never a perfect thing. Ningcheng stood up, as he helplessly muttered to himself. Fortunately, I still have the Star River seed. When Ningcheng spoke about the Star River seed, he found that the Star River seed in his Zifu, because it had absorbed a trace of the golden core flame, unexpectedly had a pale golden trace on it, as if it was about to break out of its shell. Suddenly a crazy idea emerged in Ningcheng's heart. Could he continue cultivating, and then let his golden core burn again, and then let the Star River seed absorb the flames from his golden core? Crazy. Ningcheng immediately put an end to his own idea. Even if this method could let his Star River seed break out of its shell, but his golden core would definitely be finished. Besides, how could he bear that kind of inhuman pain? I can't continue cultivating in the small spiritual domain, Ningcheng sighed. Unfortunately, he still had nearly a year's time. Forget it, everything has a limit. Moreover, even if the Yangqi burning body did not occur, he would have to leave the small spiritual domain soon. To advance to the soul essence realm, he would have to face the soul essence thunder tribulation. Moreover, Ningcheng also knew that with his qualifications, if he wanted to advance to the soul essence realm, then without the soul condensing pill, it would be absolutely impossible. He had to find the soul condensing pill, as well as prepare for the thunder tribulation. You're tuning in to the Limei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.